Pokémon, the ultimate trainer. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Elf World. Ding ding ding. With the sound of a regular alarm clock, Zhang Cheng opened his hazy eyes. I'm going to be late for work. After saying that, Zhang Cheng quickly put on his clothes and hurried to the bathroom. The movement of his hands suddenly paused, and Zhang Cheng felt that something was wrong. He looked around the room and looked at the scenery in the distance through the window. This is not my home. What's going on? At this time, Zhang Cheng's head suddenly felt a swollen pain, and a lot of memories flooded into his brain. A few minutes later, Zhang Cheng, who was in pain, suddenly showed a complicated expression. It turned out that he had traveled through time. He stretched out his hand and pinched his handsome face, and the pain quickly spread to his nerves. After confirming that he was not dreaming, Zhang Cheng began to sort out his memories. This planet is called Blue Star. 100 years ago, due to the influence of time and space turbulence, various types of Pokémon appeared in the world. At the same time, the plates of the continent also increased, and the power of the entire Blue Star underwent a huge reshuffle. Now I live in Huaxia. At present, there are 5 major forces on Blue Star that control most of the territory and resources. They are Huaxia in the center of the continent, Nordic countries to the north of Huaxia, Australia in the south, Bia in the west and Donggyang in the east. In addition to these 5 major forces, there are still some small forces. I live in Jiangcheng, Huaxia, located in the central region of Huaxia. The reason why it is called Jiangcheng is because the Yangtze River, the largest river in Huaxia, runs through it. In 2 days, it will be my 16th birthday. The Huaxia Alliance stipulates that after the age of 16, you can get your first Pokémon and register as a formal Pokémon trainer. Cheng, come down for breakfast. A gentle female voice came from the living room, interrupting my thoughts. The one who spoke was the mother of this world. In my last life, I had no father or mother. I grew up alone and found an ordinary job to live. In this life, I have relatives, and I should cherish them well. After sorting out his emotions, Zhang Cheng walked out of the room and came to the dining room. Sandwiches and soy milk were placed on the table, which were all my favorite foods. Cheng, your 16th birthday is coming soon. This is what your father left for you before he left, as the cost of buying your first Pokémon. As the mother spoke, she took out a bank card and put it on the table. Mom, I know, let's eat. In his memory, his father had been gone a long time ago because he disappeared in an accident. After that, the mother and son tacitly did not mention this sad thing. Cheng has grown up, and Mom will no longer interfere with you in the future. Mom will support you in whatever you want to do. Zhang Cheng's eyes were red. In his previous life, he was helpless and had never experienced family love. In this life, he must work hard and not let his mother down. He must also investigate his father's affairs. After breakfast, Zhang Cheng bound the bank card to his mobile phone account, which had a total of 200,000 Pokémon coins. Now he needs to consider how to choose his first Pokémon. The 3 starters are definitely the best choice as the first Pokémon, and they have great potential and are easy to cultivate in the early stage. But in reality, the 3 starters are basically monopolized by large families and the Pokémon Alliance. Ordinary people who want to obtain the 3 starters need to pay a high fee to the Alliance every year. They can only stop paying fees and obtain one when their children register as trainers. This is basically unrealistic for ordinary families. Most families can only choose to go to the local breeding house to buy their first Pokémon. I am currently in this situation. With 200,000 Pokémon coins in my hand, my only choice is to go to the breeding house to buy Pokémon. Of course, in addition to the official breeding house, there are also many Pokémon markets opened by individuals, but the qualifications of the Pokémon sold there cannot be guaranteed, and their origins are unclear, so they are not suitable as the first Pokémon of the trainer. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng decided to go to the breeding house to see the situation of the Pokémon first. Before I crossed over, I also had some understanding of Pokémon. With some memories of this world, I also had a direction for choosing Pokémon. Zhang Cheng was very excited when he thought that he would soon have his own Pokémon. Although he had played Pokémon games before, now he could really have his first Pokémon. The feeling was completely different. After that, Zhang Cheng set off to the breeding house to get his first Pokémon. When he went out to the street, Zhang Cheng called a fast car with the taxi app on his mobile phone. In the car, you can see all kinds of Pokémon on the street outside. The most common ones are Quintero and Dottley. As the main means of transportation in this world, there are also some flame horses. Flame horses are also very good means of transportation, but they are relatively rare and most people cannot get them. Looking at these scenes, Zhang Cheng sighed in his heart at the magic of this world. On the way to the breeding house, the driver saw Zhang Cheng's actions and said, "Little brother, you should be a rookie trainer soon, right?" "Yes, master," Zhang Cheng replied. "Young man, work hard. When I was your age, I was just like you. I became a Pokémon trainer with a passion, but the final result was not satisfactory, Alice," the driver said with a little emotion. "No matter what the result is, the most important thing is to work hard." "How can you know if you don't try?" Zhang Cheng said confidently. "Haha, indeed, I think too much, little brother. Uncle believes you will succeed," the driver laughed and said. "Then I will borrow master's good words," Zhang Cheng replied. As the uncle said, it is indeed very difficult for ordinary people to succeed. If you are not born in a big family, the gap in the first elf is very large. In fact, the way and skills of elf cultivation are also behind the big families. Elves have existed on Blue Star for hundreds of years, and people have their own system for the research and cultivation of elves. And these resources are often in the hands of big families, and ordinary people can only learn some basic knowledge through books and the internet. If you need to acquire more knowledge, you need to go to the Elf Academy to study and improve yourself. Zhang Cheng himself is currently studying at Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School. Now is the summer vacation. When school starts in 2 months, he will be a senior high school student. By then, everyone will have their first elf, and the college will also carry out practical teaching of elves. After a year of elf training in the 3rd year of high school, the results of each student will be determined by the college entrance examination. Finally, according to the results, they are divided into different elf universities. There is no doubt that the corresponding resources of good universities are definitely better. Chapter 2: Selecting an Elf. The sound of the car's brakes interrupted Zhang Cheng's thoughts. "Little brother, we've arrived," the driver said. "Thank you, master." As he spoke, Zhang Cheng opened the car door and walked down. What came into view was a luxurious building, with 3 big characters "Farming House" written on the door of the first floor of the building. This is the largest breeding house in Jiangcheng City, officially opened by the Elf Alliance. "Welcome to the breeding house." As soon as he entered the breeding house, 2 receptionists bowed and greeted him. After passing the receptionists and entering the interior of the breeding house, Zhang Cheng's eyes were filled with a dazzling array of goods. In addition to the various elves raised, there are also many elf eggs, elf supplies, elf favorite food, various potions, evolution crystals, etc. It is worthy of being the largest breeding house in Jiangcheng. Basically, all the daily necessities of elves can be bought here, Zhang Cheng thought to himself. "Little brother, are you here to buy elves?" A shopping guide came to Zhang Cheng and said. Zhang Cheng looked up at the sales lady. She had thick blonde hair, a professional suit and black stockings. The first sight of her made people's blood boil. Zhang Cheng lowered his head with a little shyness and said, "Yes, I'm here to buy my first elf. The budget is about 150,000, okay, please come over here," the sales lady said happily. Although the customer's consumption is not particularly high, it is good to have a good performance, and she also has a good impression of the little brother. Following the sales lady to an elf area, the sales lady introduced, "These are all elves with a price of less than 200,000. You can take a look first. If you like them, you can tell me and I will give you a detailed introduction." "Okay, thank you, sister," Zhang Cheng said and began to choose elves. After looking around, Zhang Cheng was a little disappointed. The elves at this price are all very common elves, and the potential is not great. It is not suitable to cultivate them as the first elf. Now I only have 200,000 elf coins in my hand. How can I choose a good elf? Generally, after crossing, you will get the golden finger system. Why didn't I receive it? Even a small golden finger will do. System, please come out soon. While Zhang Cheng was complaining, a prompt suddenly appeared in his mind. The system has successfully matched with a host and obtained the ability to detect elves. Zhang Cheng was happy. It seems that the gold finger has been delayed, but it is not too late now. After studying it, Zhang Cheng found that the function of this system is to see the basic information of the elves. After saying that, he looked at a Rattata in front of him, and all the information about Rattata appeared in his mind. Name, Rattata, level 5, gender, male qualification, E attribute, general carrying props, none basic skills, impact, tail shaking, lightning flash inherited skills, screaming sound characteristics, perseverance, if it becomes abnormal, it will take out perseverance and the attack will be improved. When the Pokemon with this characteristic is in an abnormal state other than dying, the attack is increased by 50%, and the attack power is reduced to 50% of the original effect regardless of the burn. When frozen, the attack will not be increased when using the move that contacts the frozen state. Note, Rattata, a mouse Pokemon, a Pokemon in the forest. Likes to eat hard things such as tree fruits and cheese. Sometimes it will drive the food of careless travelers and run to the wild. In the real elf world, elves have their own qualifications. Elves with better qualifications learn skills faster, have stronger comprehension ability, and have greater potential. The level of qualifications is divided according to the detection data of the Elf Alliance. From high to low, they are SAP-DEF. Each corresponding qualification is also different. A qualification is divided into 3 levels, upper, middle and lower. The upper one corresponds to plus and the lower one corresponds to. Only legendary beasts can have S-level qualifications. Ordinary Pokemon with qualifications above C-level are very excellent Pokemon. This little Rattata belongs to the lower level of L-level qualifications, which is a category with relatively poor qualifications. Of course, it does not mean that Pokemon with poor qualifications have no potential at all, but it is more difficult to cultivate and has less potential than Pokemon with good qualifications. In addition to the qualifications of Pokemon, the Pokemon League also divides the levels of trainers. The levels of trainers are, Novice level, 0 and 10, Entry level, 11 and 20, Ordinary level, 21 and 35, Elite level, 36-50, Gym Owner level, 51-60, Quasi-King level, 61 and 70, King level, 71 and 80, Champion level, 80-100. When the highest level of the Pokemon in the hands of the trainer reaches the corresponding requirements and the Pokemon's combat effectiveness is qualified, the corresponding level title can be obtained. If one can have a B-level Pokemon of the starter 3 as his first Pokemon, then the trainer's future achievements will definitely not be too bad. As long as he works hard, he can at least become an elite trainer. Now the golden finger he has can directly understand the situation of the Pokemon, but the Pokemon in the breeding house must be sold after being tested by the Alliance, so it is basically impossible to find a bargain. However, if his golden finger can see all kinds of information about the Pokemon in the Pokemon egg, then there is a great chance to get a Pokemon with good qualifications. Although the Alliance's testing equipment can detect some of the conditions of the Pokemon in the egg, it cannot confirm its qualifications, characteristics and genetic skills before it is born. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng said directly to the shopping guide, "Can I go and see the Pokemon eggs?" "Of course, no problem, please follow me." The shopping guide also saw Zhang Cheng's dilemma and said sympathetically, "When we came to the area where Pokemon eggs were sold, the flow of people here was more than that of the Pokemon area. Some of them were trainers who were not rich like Zhang Cheng and wanted to get a good Pokemon. Another part was gamblers who wanted to rely on luck to get a high-quality Pokemon and fantasized about soaring into the sky." When he came to the Pokemon egg, Zhang Cheng opened the cheat code, and it really worked. The information of the Pokemon in the Pokemon egg appeared in front of Zhang Cheng. Name, Nidoran, level 0, gender, male qualification, D attribute, poison carrying props, none basic skills, stare, peck inherited skills, double return characteristics, poison sting. When using contact moves to attack Pokemon with this characteristic, there is a 30% chance of poisoning. Note, Nidoran, a male Pokemon with poison needles, has a larger horn than the female Nidoran, and is good at the special move of horn attack. This Nidoran is not bad, with inherited skills, and its qualifications are much better than the Pokemon seen before. Taking this Nidoran as a backup, Zhang Cheng plans to continue looking at other Pokemon eggs. Chapter 3 Rainy Day Team. Next, Zhang Cheng continued to use the cheat code to look at many Pokemon eggs, and found that most of the qualifications were similar to the previous Nidoran, and he did not encounter a Pokemon with excellent qualifications. Just when Zhang Cheng was reluctantly planning to choose from the previous Pokémon eggs, he suddenly saw a blue Pokémon egg in the last row of the shelf. Zhang Cheng had a hunch that this Pokémon egg would definitely bring him a surprise. Open the cheat code to check the information of the Pokémon egg. Name, Mosquito, Level 0, Gender, Male. Qualification, B+ attribute, Water carrying props, none. Basic skills, playing with water, water gun. Inherited skills, Bubble Ray, Heart's Eye, Reckless. Characteristics, free and easy. When it rains or rains heavily, the speed ability becomes twice the original. Note, Mosquito, a tadpole Pokémon, has a vortex pattern on its belly as its characteristic. Looking at this, Zhang Cheng smiled. He didn't expect that he would be so lucky to meet a Pokémon with B-level qualifications. The most important thing is not just the qualifications. Trainers who understand the characteristics know that the free and easy characteristic of Mosquito is its hidden characteristic. After the Mosquito with this characteristic evolves into Bullfrog, the characteristic will change to Rain. The effect of the Rain characteristic is, when this Pokémon appears, the weather will be changed to Rainy Day, which will last for 5 rounds. After carrying the item Wet Rock, the rainy weather can last for 8 rounds. In heavy rain, strong sunshine and turbulent weather, the characteristic will fail to activate. If there are multiple Pokémon with weather characteristics appear at the same time, the characteristics will be activated in sequence according to the speed, and the latter will cover the weather effect of the former. If you cultivate this Mosquito, you can go the route of the Rainy team in the future. Zhang Cheng also had a certain understanding of the elves before crossing, and he also knew the bonus effect of weather on the elves. A formed Rainy team can basically be invincible in the battle of the same level. Of course, if you encounter attribute restrained, it is another matter. Moreover, even if there is no weather characteristic, Zhang Cheng thinks that the qualifications of this Mosquito alone are very good, and this Mosquito also has good genetic skills. The Mosquito can have 2 stages of evolution later, which is a very good choice as the first elf of the trainer. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng made a choice and said to the sales lady, "How much does this tadpole elf egg cost?" The price of this tadpole is 230,000, but our sales lady can have an internal price. If you like it, you can get it for 190,000, and if you buy an elf egg in our breeding house, you will be given a set of elf hatching device, the sales lady said with a smile. This elf is now in the stage of looking at elf eggs, so the price is not much different from other tadpoles. If it is born, the price will be much more expensive than tadpoles with other characteristics. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng chose to buy it directly. "Okay, please help me pack the elf hatching decoration and the elf egg together." "Okay, little brother, you can go to the checkout counter to check out first, and I will help you get the hatching device over here." The shopping guide said happily that she could get a lot of commission after the deal was concluded. After paying, Zhang Cheng took the elf egg and the hatching device and took a taxi on the roadside to go home. After returning home, Zhang Cheng opened the elf hatching device, which contained instructions for use and was very simple to operate. Put the elf egg into the hatching device and add the hatching liquid, and the elf will hatch successfully after a week. During this week, Zhang Cheng has been waiting for the hatching of the elf with excitement. It is said that after the elf is born, it will regard the first person it sees as its parent. The elves obtained by hatching elf eggs will be easier to raise and cultivate in the later stage. After all, elves in the wild are more difficult to tame, and it takes a period of running and period between them and the trainer after they are captured. During the waiting time of these few days, Zhang Cheng used the internet and some related books to further understand the Rainy Day team. Through these few days of study, Zhang Cheng also further understood the strengths of the Rainy Day team. In rainy weather, the power of water-type skills will increase by 50%, and the power of fire-type skills will decrease by 50%. Pokémon with the Rain Blessing feature will receive corresponding bonuses, and the Thunder and Storm skills will hit 100%. Thunder is a very powerful special attack skill among electric skills. The hit rate is much lower than other skills, but it is a must-hit skill in rainy days. This made Zhang Cheng know that electric-type special attack Pokémon are indispensable in the Rainy Day team. And the water type is restrained by the electric attribute. If you encounter an electric Pokémon, at least you won't be restrained too seriously if you have an electric Pokémon. Next, Zhang Cheng's plan is to cultivate the tadpole first, and the second Pokémon is the electric direction. The Rainy Day team will only take shape after the tadpole evolves to the bullfrog. What needs to be done now is to cultivate all the Pokémon first and lay a good foundation for the rainy day team. It has been 7 days since the hatching began. If nothing goes wrong, the tadpole will be born today. Zhang Cheng got up early and washed up. After breakfast, he stayed in front of the Pokémon egg. After a while, the Pokémon egg began to shake, and cracks began to appear on the eggshell, emitting a water blue light. Click, click, the eggshell slowly began to crack, and a round Pokémon with a tail broke out of the shell. There was a mosquito-repellent pattern on its belly, and it was a newly born Pokémon tadpole. Mosquito, Mosquito. The Pokémon tadpole began to call happily as soon as it came out. After seeing Zhang Cheng, it trotted over and rubbed Zhang Cheng's cheek. After the Pokémon is born, it will regard the first person it sees as its parent, which seems to be true at present. Zhang Cheng touched the Pokémon tadpole's head, and then fed the Pokémon eggshell to the Pokémon tadpole. Pokémon can eat eggshells after they are born. The eggshells are rich in nutrients that can help young Pokémon grow. Pokémon tadpole, let's work hard together in the future. My goal is to become a super powerful trainer. Mosquito, Mosquito. The mosquito tadpole cried while eating the eggshells, like a greedy child. Seeing the mosquito tadpole finish eating the eggshells, Zhang Cheng took out some food for water Pokémon to eat. After buying the Pokémon eggs, Zhang Cheng only had 10,000 Pokémon coins left. He used the remaining Pokémon coins to buy food for the mosquito tadpole in the past 2 days. Now Zhang Cheng is penniless. The subsequent growth of the Pokémon requires energy blocks and training equipment, as well as the cost of treating the Pokémon's injuries. Although there are discounts for treatment at the Pokémon Center after becoming a trainer, it is still a considerable expense. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng's head became bigger again. Being a trainer is not as easy as he thought. Chapter 4 Growth. In the next week, Zhang Cheng's daily exercise was with a mosquito tadpole. It is not recommended to train skills for a newly born Pokémon in the first week, and a transition period is needed for the young Pokémon. So within a week after the birth of the mosquito tadpole, Zhang Cheng would go out for a run with a mosquito tadpole every morning. Running with a Pokémon, you can experience the feeling of training with a Pokémon and exercise your body. There are still many dangers in the wild, and a good physical fitness is essential. Secondly, you can also cultivate a better relationship with a Pokémon, and training with a Pokémon will make the Pokémon more trusting of the trainer. After the training is completed, Zhang Cheng will give the mosquito tadpole some food and energy blocks as a reward. This will not make the Pokémon disgusted. If you blindly train without paying attention to the feelings of the Pokémon's progress will be very slow and will have a resistance. In addition to training, Zhang Cheng will also play with a mosquito tadpole to cultivate the relationship between the trainer and the Pokémon. When playing together, Zhang Cheng found that the mosquito-repellent tadpole liked to watch TV very much. Whether it was some elf-type TV series or the anime that humans like to watch, the mosquito-repellent tadpole would watch it with relish. Zhang Cheng thought that when he had more money in the future, he would buy a TV that played elf content for the mosquito-repellent tadpole. And every time the mosquito-repellent tadpole was happy, he would call Mosquito and Mosquito with a cheerful look. In this way, the two spent the newborn period of the mosquito-repellent tadpole for 1 week after its birth, and the relationship between the two people became better and better. After a week of development, the mosquito-repellent tadpole's body size has also grown a little. Next, Zhang Cheng plans to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole practice his skills so that the mosquito-repellent tadpole can have a certain combat effectiveness. The food purchased when the mosquito-repellent tadpole was born has been eaten almost, and the mosquito-repellent tadpole must be made combat effective as soon as possible. After the mosquito-repellent tadpole forms combat effectiveness, it can go to the Alliance Center to receive some tasks to get rewards. The rewards obtained are used to buy elf supplies. At present, the conditions at home are not very good, and Zhang Cheng does not want to cause trouble for his mother. The next morning, Zhang Cheng got up early to wash up, and took the mosquito-repellent tadpole to a nearby park for training. At present, the mosquito-repellent tadpole has mastered a total of 5 skills, 2 of which are the elves' own skills of playing with water and water guns. The other 3 are inherited skills, Eye of the Heart, Bubble Ray, and Reckless. The effect of playing with water is to reduce the damage of the fire system within 5 rounds. Zhang Cheng intends to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole have a preliminary grasp of this skill. The water system itself restrains the fire system and is in an advantageous position in the battle. Unless the level difference is too large, this skill will not be used. The inherited skills of this mosquito-repellent tadpole are all excellent skills. Zhang Cheng intends to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole master them as soon as possible. The effect of the Eye of the Heart is that after using it, the next attack will definitely hit the opponent, and it is very effective when combined with some high damage and low hit rate skills. Zhang Cheng has an idea in his mind, whether the Eye of the Heart will be unsolvable if used with Absolute Zero. Absolute Zero has only a 30% chance of hitting, but once it hits, it will enter a near-death state. Unfortunately, the mosquito-repellent tadpole cannot learn this skill and cannot be tested. Bubble Ray is a water damage skill. The power of 65 is higher than that of a water gun with a power of 40, and there is a chance to reduce the opponent's speed. The mastery of inherited skills will be slower than the original skills. Zhang Cheng plans to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole learn the water gun first and use the water gun as the main means of attack. After the mosquito-repellent tadpole masters the Bubble Ray, it will replace the water gun as the main means of attack. The last inherited skill is Reckless. The effect of this skill is that after using it, it causes damage to make the opponent's blood volume the same as your own. It is suitable as an unexpected move and can make the greatest contribution to the team when you are about to lose your combat effectiveness. After a preliminary understanding of the skills of the mosquito-repellent tadpole, Zhang Cheng began to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole practice the water gun skill. Zhang Cheng found a relatively small tree trunk and let the mosquito-repellent tadpole use the water gun on the tree trunk. At first, the mosquito-repellent tadpole's water gun was very powerful, and hitting the tree trunk was almost as effective as rain. Sometimes, it even misses the target and fails to hit the tree trunk. The tadpole was also disappointed to see the effect of his skill and felt sorry for the trainer. Zhang Cheng knew what the tadpole was thinking now, so he hurried forward to encourage him. It's true that you will not be proficient in using skills at the beginning, but it's okay. We will practice for a while and it will work. Mosquito, the trainer believes in himself so much, he must not let him down. The tadpole mustered up his energy and continued to practice the water gun skill. After practicing the water gun, Zhang Cheng also let the tadpole try to use water. The skill of playing with water only requires the sprayed water to spread all over the battlefield in a diffused form. The tadpole quickly learned to use the water skill. After all, this skill does not need to cause a strong power. It only needs to cover the battlefield with rainwater to achieve the effect of reducing fire attribute damage in a short period of time. After the tadpole mastered the water skill, it consolidated it a certain number of times, and Zhang Cheng let the tadpole rest for a while. Reward the energy cubes that the mosquito-scented tadpole likes to eat, and replenish the stamina of the mosquito-scented tadpole. After training for a long time, the stamina of the elves has also been lost a lot. After a period of rest, the mosquito-scented tadpole continued to practice the water gun skill. During the practice, Zhang Cheng would constantly encourage the mosquito-scented tadpole. The mosquito-scented tadpole heard the encouragement of the trainer and became more motivated to train, and the proficiency of the skill use was also improving faster and faster. The sun was setting. After a day of training, the hit rate of the mosquito-scented tadpole's water gun was getting higher and higher, and the damage had also improved initially, and it could also cause slight damage to the elves. Let's stop here today, mosquito-scented tadpole, and continue training tomorrow. Mosquito. The mosquito-scented tadpole called while poking his head towards the tree trunk, indicating that he wanted to continue practicing. It seems that this mosquito-scented tadpole is the kind that is more competitive. I have worked hard today. I will continue training tomorrow. Overtraining is not a good thing. Zhang Cheng patted the mosquito-scented tadpole's head and said encouragingly. Mosquito tadpole was very happy to hear his trainer's affirmation of him. He trotted all the way to Zhang Cheng's shoulder, and the man and the Pokémon walked on the way home together. The setting sun hit Zhang Cheng's back, embellishing it with brilliant golden light, like the glory of the champion symbol. Chapter 5, Receive Mission. Mosquito, aim at the tree trunk in front and use the strongest water gun. Hearing the trainer's order, Mosquito immediately aimed at the tree trunk in front and fired a water gun. A large amount of water sprayed out and hit the tree trunk directly. With a click, the tree trunk in front was broken by Mosquito. Seeing the power of Mosquito's water gun this time, Zhang Cheng was very satisfied. So far, Mosquito has practiced water gun attacks for 4 days. With a continuous improvement of power and proficiency, the water gun can now cause considerable damage, which can be regarded as preliminary combat effectiveness. Mosquito did a good job, and the training these days was great. Next, I plan to go to the Alliance Center to take on some tasks. Do you have the confidence to complete them? Zhang Cheng said to Mosquito. Mosquito nodded to show that he had no problem and let the trainer rest assured. Zhang Cheng opened the system and checked the current situation of the mosquito repellent tadpole. The information of the mosquito repellent tadpole appeared in Zhang Cheng's mind. Name, mosquito repellent tadpole, level 2, gender, male qualification, B+ attribute, water carrying props, none basic skills, playing with water, water gun inherited skills, bubble ray, heart's eye, reckless characteristics, leisurely and free. In rainy or heavy rainy weather, the speed ability becomes twice as fast as before. Note, mosquito repellent tadpole Pokemon, the vortex pattern on the belly is its characteristic. Note, mosquito repellent tadpole Pokemon, the vortex pattern on the belly is its characteristic. After this period of training, the mosquito repellent tadpole has been upgraded to 1 level. The elves are at level 1 after birth. There are 2 ways for the elves to upgrade their levels. One is to improve the power and proficiency of skills through training, and the level will be improved. The other way is through fighting. Winning the battle will accumulate battle experience, and the skill proficiency can also be improved through fighting. Both methods can improve the level, but the latter is definitely more effective. After all, if you only have the training foundation and no combat experience, even if you are higher than the opponent, but the opponent has more combat experience, you can defeat the higher level with a lower level. The best way to cultivate elves is to train more often, improve the proficiency of skills, and then use them in actual combat to improve combat experience. The elves before level 5 grow very fast, so in the 10 days of training, the mosquito coil tadpole has been upgraded to 1 level and has preliminary combat effectiveness. Next, Zhang Cheng thinks that he can take on some simple tasks, earn some elf coins, and learn more about the outside world. In addition to training, Zhang Cheng also has a certain understanding of the tasks issued by the Elf Alliance. The tasks issued by the Elf Alliance are divided into bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, master, and king from high to low. Tasks above the diamond level will not be announced to the public, and you need to reach the corresponding trainer level to have the authority to understand and accept tasks. Most of these tasks issued by the Elf Alliance are issued by other trainers or companies that have needs and entrust the Alliance. Trainers who need training resources can accept tasks through the Alliance Center and obtain corresponding rewards to cultivate their own elves. At present, Zhang Cheng's strength can only accept some bronze-level tasks. Tasks of this level are generally very simple, and basically all trainers with Pokémon can accept tasks. Most of these tasks are carried out in towns and will not encounter danger. Some slightly higher-level tasks need to be completed in the wild. Pokémon in the wild are not as docile as Pokémon in towns. Walking in the wild may encounter danger at any time. Zhang Cheng called a taxi and brought Mosquito Tadpole to the Elf Union. The Elf Union is located in the central area of Jiangcheng City and is a landmark building in Jiangcheng City. Trainers need to come to the task hall of the Elf Union to accept and hand over tasks. The daily flow of people here is terrifying. After Zhang Cheng came to the Elf Union, he came to the task hall under the guidance of the staff. There are many intelligent machines in the task hall. You can enter the task acceptance interface by placing your trainer identity magnetic card on the machine. Zhang Cheng opened the task center and chose the bronze level category column without hesitation, and selected the task that suits him. Task 1, Hongshan Square will hold an event soon. 20 trainers are needed to maintain order on site and ensure the smooth progress of the event. There is no limit on the level of the Pokémon. The event will last for 3 days and the task reward is 9,000 Pokémon coins. Task 2, Nanting Training Ground needs 10 trainers to conduct Pokémon combat training with the new trainers in the training ground. The Pokémon level must be 2-5. The duration is 2 days and the task reward is 4,000 Pokémon coins. Task 3, Tunkao Development Zone needs 3 security guards in the near future to maintain order near the development project. The Pokémon level must be above 5. The task will last for 7 days and the task reward is 30,000 Pokémon coins. Currently, only these 3 are relatively good among the bronze-level tasks. Zhang Cheng plans to choose from these 3 tasks. Tasks 1 and 3 are security-related jobs. They maintain order with Pokémons and the rewards are also very generous. Task 2 is to practice with the Pokémons of trainers. The rewards are lower than the previous 2 tasks, But fighting with the Pokémons of other trainers can also increase the combat experience of your own Pokémon. After comprehensive consideration, Zhang Cheng plans to accept the second task. Although the reward is not high, valuable combat experience can be obtained. The Pokémon food I bought last time can still be eaten by the mosquito-repellent tadpole for 10 days, so it is not urgent to use Pokémon coins to buy food now. Compared with earning Pokémon coins, Zhang Cheng thinks it is more important to improve the strength of the Pokémon. After the strength of the mosquito-repellent tadpole is improved, he can accept the silver-level mission, and the reward he gets will be much higher than the bronze-level mission. Considering all these conditions, the best choice is Mission 2. After receiving the mission, Zhang Cheng returned home. He came to the bathroom and put a large basin of hot water. Zhang Cheng planned to give the mosquito-repellent tadpole a good bath. After taking a bath, Zhang Cheng gave the mosquito-repellent tadpole a full-body massage using the massage techniques he learned. The mosquito-repellent tadpole seemed to enjoy this feeling as well, lying in the arms of the trainer and making a comfortable cry. While massaging the mosquito-repellent tadpole, Zhang Cheng was thinking about tomorrow's mission. The trainer who will fight against him tomorrow must also be a trainer who has just obtained a Pokémon, and the levels of the Pokémons on both sides are not much different. The mosquito-repellent tadpole's current means of attack is only a water gun. Playing with water as an auxiliary skill has a good effect only on the fire system. If you encounter a Pokémon with restrained attributes, it may be troublesome, but no matter what, you will definitely improve by fighting your own Pokémon. Zhang Cheng believes that through this period of training, the mosquito-scented tadpole has a certain strength and can fight against Pokémon of the same level. Mosquito-scented tadpole, we will fight against other trainers tomorrow. Do you have confidence? Zhang Cheng said while caressing the mosquito-scented tadpole lovingly. Mosquito Mo. Chapter 6, First Battle. In the early morning, a ray of sunlight shone through the branches and hit the beams. Today is the first day that Zhang Cheng went to the Nanting training ground to do the task. Hearing the alarm ring, Zhang Cheng got up immediately to wash up, and after a simple breakfast, he rushed to the Nanting training ground. After going out, he still called a ditty as usual. Looking at the flame horse and doodly on the roadside, Zhang Cheng thought that he would have the opportunity to capture a mount-type Pokémon in the future, so that traveling would be much more convenient. However, this wish should be difficult to achieve in a short period of time. His current Pokémon level is low and he does not have enough Pokémon coins. Not to mention that it is difficult to capture this type of Pokémon. Even if he captures it, the daily expenses of the Pokémon are unaffordable. So this idea is not very realistic at present. The most important thing at the moment is to cultivate the mosquito coil tadpoles, get a good score in the college entrance examination, and go to a better university for further study. Soon they arrived at the Nanting training ground, and there was a staff member to greet them after entering. The staff took Zhang Cheng to lounge. A group of new trainers will come to practice fighting later. There will be 2 battles a day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. The staff explained the task situation to Zhang Cheng. Every battle requires full effort. The training ground is responsible for the treatment of Pokémon injuries. The battle between the 2 sides should be stopped at the right time, and no serious damage should be caused to the Pokémon. After explaining the battle rules, the staff sat aside and waited for the arrival of the trainer. Trainers who come to the training ground for battle training are generally from relatively wealthy families. After all, entering the training ground for training also requires a certain fee of Pokémon coins. If the family conditions are not generous, generally at this stage, they will choose to use Pokémon to do some tasks and earn some Pokémon coins. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, a teenager about the same age as Zhang Cheng came into the lounge, wearing a blue casual outfit. The staff stood up and came to Zhang Cheng and introduced, "This is Yang Nian, your opponent for the first training match today. This is Zhang Cheng, your opponent for the first training match today. You can communicate and confirm first. If there is no problem, you can start preparing for the game now," the staff then said to Zhang Nian. "Okay, no problem," Zhang Nian nodded. Then the staff opened the door opposite the lounge, and a 150 square meter ordinary battlefield appeared in front of them. The floor is made of special material, which will not be damaged even if it is attacked by a strong force. This battle is a 1v1 battle. The game is over when one party's Pokémon loses its ability to fight or the trainer admits defeat. The staff came to the referee's desk and said to the 2. "Go, Charmander. Tadpole, it's up to you." Both sides released Pokémons at the same time. The opponent's Pokémon was a Charmander. With such a starter Pokémon as the initial Pokémon, it can be seen that the opponent's family conditions are very good. Zhang Cheng first checked Charmander's information through the gold finger. As the saying goes, know yourself and know the enemy, and you will win every battle. If you don't use the gold finger, wouldn't you be stupid? All the old predecessors who traveled through time and space have reached the peak of their lives with a gold finger. Through the scanning of the cheat code, the information of Charmander appeared in front of Zhang Cheng. Name, Charmander, Level 3, Gender, Male. Qualification, B. Attribute, Fire. Carrying props, none. Basic skills, Grab, Call, Spark. Genetic skills, Bite, Reverse scale. Characteristics, Fierce Fire. When the health value is less than 1/3, the power of Fire attribute moves increases by 1.5 times. Notes, Charmander, a lizard Pokémon, the flame of its tail is the light of its life, and when it is energetic, the flame will also burn fiercely. This Charmander is worthy of being one of the 3 starters, with high qualifications and good genetic skills. The Bite skill is very effective in the early stage of the Pokémon, with 60 points of damage. The power of damage skills such as Water Gun Sparks is 40, and the Bite skill is very powerful in the early battle of the Pokémon. As for the Reverse scale skill, it should be impossible for the current Charmander to master it. In the battle, you mainly need to guard against the Bite skill of the opponent's Charmander, of course, on the premise that the opponent has learned this skill. The opponent's trainer should also be unlikely to use the Spark skill. Unless the Fierce Fire special effect is activated, ordinary Spark attacks will not cause much damage to the tadpoles. Zhang Cheng believes that he still has a great chance of winning this duel. In terms of attributes, the tadpoles restrain Charmander, and the level difference is only 1 level, and the tadpoles have learned the water gun trick that restrains the fire type. Both sides please prepare their equipment, and the battle begins now. Charmander quickly approached the tadpoles and used Grab. Zhang Cheng took the initiative and issued an order to Charmander. Charmander heard the trainer's order and attacked the tadpoles. Zhang Cheng immediately issued an order to the tadpoles, used the water gun to push Charmander back. The tadpoles sprayed a stream of water from their mouths and hit Charmander's body. This water-attributed trick caused a lot of damage to Charmander. At the same time, Charmander's sharp claws also caused some damage to the tadpoles. But it is obvious that Charmander suffered more serious damage. After Zhang Cheng's special training during this period, coupled with attribute restrained, the power of the water gun of the mosquito-repellent tadpole has begun to show its prowess. Zhang Cheng immediately changed his tactics upon seeing this. The little dragon should try to avoid the frontal attack of the mosquito-repellent tadpole and find an opportunity to use the call. Zhang Cheng saw through the other party's idea at a glance. Zhang Cheng intended to constantly weaken the attack power of the mosquito-repellent tadpole through the call. When the life value of the little dragon is less than 1/3, the Fierce Fire characteristic is activated, and the little dragon's Spark skill is matched to turn the defeat into victory. It must be said that these trainers with good family conditions have received a good education and have a good battle idea when they just became trainers. If Zhang Cheng was not a time traveler, he really dare not say that he has such a mind at this age. Of course, Zhang Cheng could not let the other party succeed. The mosquito-repellent tadpole will fight quickly and use the water gun to attack the tail of the little dragon. This is the advantage of having a golden finger and crossing. Knowing all the skills and characteristics of the opponent's elves is very helpful for commanding in battle. The flame of the little dragon's tail is a symbol of life, and it is also the vital part of the little dragon. Using water-based skills to attack can achieve the effect of heavy damage. Mosquito Tadpole fired a water gun attack, directly aimed at the vital parts of Charmander. Charmander dodged quickly and find a chance to make a sound. Zhang Cheng also responded in time, directing Charmander to dodge. Charmander dodged the water gun once and successfully made a sound to weaken the attack power of Mosquito Tadpole. However, the second water gun of Mosquito Tadpole accurately hit the tail of Charmander, causing heavy damage to Charmander. But Zhang Cheng did not relax. Although the water gun of Mosquito Tadpole severely damaged Charmander, it did not directly defeat Charmander. As Charmander's injured health value was less than 1/3, Charmander's Fierce Fire characteristic was triggered. The next is the critical moment to determine the outcome. Chapter 7, First Battle Victory. With a roar from Charmander, the Fierce Fire attribute was activated. The flames on Charmander's tail were burning fiercely, and the whole dragon seemed to have turned on the rampage mode. Charmander used the spark trick on the Mosquito Tadpole. Zhang Nian immediately attacked after seeing Charmander trigger the Fierce Fire. There is a duration after the fierce fire is activated. If there is no winner within the duration, you will fall into passive state. It also takes a lot of physical strength for the elves to trigger the fierce fire. At this time, a quick battle is the best choice. Zhang Cheng had already thought of a strategy to deal with it. From the beginning of the battle to now, Zhang Nian has not let Charmander use the spark skill. Because water-type elves will only be damaged by half the power of fire-type skills. As an elf with a special attack higher than physical attack, Charmander is very passive when the spark effect is not good. It can only use other non-type skills to fight the Mosquito tadpole. And Zhang Nian's choice is also correct. In the early stage of the battle, he has been using the call to reduce the attack power of the Mosquito tadpole. Then, through the fierce fire characteristic, combined with the special attack skill of the same type, Spark, it caused high damage to the Scorpion. However, the rookie trainer was obviously inexperienced and did not know enough about the skills. The shouting skill reduces the physical attack of the Pokémon, while the water gun skill used by the Scorpion is a special attack skill. Therefore, Charmander's shouting did not have much impact on the Scorpion in the early stage. The Scorpion uses water play. Zhang Cheng commanded the Scorpion calmly. In terms of speed, the Scorpion is obviously higher than the Charmander, and the race value of the Scorpion is mainly highlighted in speed. The Scorpion has a speed of 90, which is much faster than the 65 of the Charmander. Although Zhang Nian was the first to command Charmander to launch a spark attack, the Scorpion's water play skill was triggered earlier. The entire battlefield became wet in an instant, and the power of fire skills on the battlefield was reduced by 50% for the next period of time. The spark skill directly hit the Scorpion, but it did not cause serious damage. Charmander's special attack is higher, and spark is also a skill of its own type. With a fierce fire characteristic, this attack can end the game even if it hits the water-attributed Mosquito. However, with the triggering of the water play effect and the resistance of the water attribute of the Mosquito itself to fire, the effect of this spark is average. It's time to decide the winner next. Mosquito uses the water gun again to end the battle. Charmander, get out of the way, Zhang Nian hurriedly commanded Charmander. Charmander had just been severely injured and used a spark with a maximum power. His physical strength was greatly consumed and he had no way to dodge this water gun. With the water gun skill hitting, Charmander lost his combat ability. At the same time, Zhang Cheng found that the level of Mosquito was upgraded to level 3. Through this battle, Mosquito's actual combat experience was improved and successfully upgraded. Charmander lost his combat ability, and the winner of this battle is Zhang Cheng. The staff also announced the result of the game at this time. You are very strong, but I won't lose to you next time. Zhang Nian said to Zhang Cheng. Thank you for letting me win. It's good to be confident. Come on, Zhang Cheng responded politely. Then the two returned to the lounge under the guidance of the staff. There was another battle in the afternoon. Zhang Cheng sent the mosquito-repellent tadpole to the treatment room of the training ground and went to have a simple lunch. After lunch, Zhang Cheng came to the lounge and continued to wait for the afternoon battle. In his spare time, Zhang Cheng was also thinking about the subsequent training direction of the mosquito-repellent tadpole. At present, the main advantage of the mosquito-repellent tadpole is speed. The attack power and health value are not very high. The means of attack are too simple, and only the water gun can be used as a means of attack. Zhang Cheng plans to try to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole use the bubble beam after today's battle. The power of the bubble beam is much higher than that of the water gun, and there is a chance to reduce the opponent's speed after hitting. In the face of a battle with a speed similar to that of his own elf, the bubble beam will be of great help. Soon it was the afternoon battle. The mosquito-repellent tadpole has now recovered to its peak state through the treatment of the Jigglypuff in the treatment room. The trainer in the afternoon battle was a trainer who used Snake. Snake is relatively rare in Jiangcheng. The three starter Pokémons in Jiangcheng are mainly Bulbasaur, Charmander and Squirtle. To be able to get Snake as the first Pokémon, this trainer must have a considerable background in other urban areas. Under the guidance of the staff, the two came to the battle side in the morning to fight. Go, Mosquito. Go, Snake. The two released their own Pokémon at the same time, and Zhang Cheng scanned the information of the Vine Snake through the system. Name, Vine Snake, Level 3, Gender, Female. Qualification, B Attribute, Grass Carrying Props, None. Basic Skills, Impact, Stare. Inherited Skills, Snake Stare, Magic Leaf, Green Grass. Field Characteristics, Opposition, The ability changes of Pokémon with this characteristic are changed to the opposite direction of the original. The ability changes caused by Pokémon with Break, Mega Voltage or Turbo Flame are not affected by opposition. The ability changes transmitted by baton or self-suggestion will be retained normally. The ability reduction caused by paralysis and burns is also not affected. Notes: Vine Snake, a grass snake Pokémon. Always keep calm and not be shaken by anything. It uses the leaves on its tail to generate energy through optical synthesis. This vine snake is perfect in all aspects and has the hidden characteristic of opposition. It has many inherited skills and its qualifications have reached B level. It is a Pokémon with great potential. This battle is very difficult to fight. This is Zhang Cheng's first feeling after seeing the opponent's Pokémon. The water gun of the Mosquito coil tadpole is difficult to cause high damage to the vine snake, and the opponent can win by colliding with it. The water playing skill has no effect. If the opponent's vine snake learns the magic leaf, there is no chance of winning this battle. Although the chance of winning is very small, Zhang Cheng still plans to fight. It is not his character to retreat without fighting. Even if he loses the game, he can accumulate combat experience, which will be helpful for future battles. With the instructions of the staff, the game began. Zhang Cheng intends to take the initiative and launch an attack. The Mosquito coil tadpole uses the maximum force of the water gun to attack. A water gun was fired, and the opponent's vine snake used a collision to hit back. Because the vine snake is resistant to water, the damage caused by this water gun is not as high as the opponent's collision damage. The Mosquito coil tadpole soon fell into disadvantage, but there was nothing he could do about it. The Mosquito coil tadpole is now too low in level, and the means of attack are too monotonous. After several rounds of fighting, the gap between the life value of the Mosquito coil tadpole and the vine snake became larger and larger. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 Reflection and Conclusion. The following battle was naturally no suspense. This vine snake had a good talent and had already mastered the magic leaf. Under the command of the trainer, a magic leaf directly made the Mosquito tadpole lose its combat ability. The hope of winning this battle was indeed very slim. Zhang Cheng currently had no good way to deal with the elves that restrained the water type. After the battle, Zhang Cheng sent the injured Mosquito tadpole to the treatment room of the training ground for treatment. While waiting for the Mosquito tadpole to be treated, Zhang Cheng bought a dinner. While eating dinner, he summarized the 2 battles today. Today, I came into contact with some new trainers, and my combat experience was not particularly rich. But they all had good initial elves, and the Mosquito tadpole was also able to fight against the 3 starter elves. However, it would be very difficult to meet the grass and electric elves. It would be easier to fight the Mosquito tadpole after the Mosquito tadpole learned skills of other attributes. Now Zhang Cheng plans to focus on the training of the Mosquito tadpole on skills, and let the Mosquito tadpole learn new attack skills as soon as possible. At the same time, Zhang Cheng is also considering the expansion of his team. In the battle, the main types of elves that can restrain the mosquito repellent are electric and grass elves, but electric elves are not very common. So the main thing to deal with is the grass elves. Zhang Cheng's second elf needs to meet the following conditions. First, it needs to restrain the grass type, and it must be an elf with potential, otherwise it will be very weak in the later stage. Secondly, it needs to be easy to capture some common elves. With Zhang Cheng's current savings, he certainly can't buy another elf. Considering all these aspects, Zhang Cheng chose the second elf object to be Bobo. First of all, Bobo has 3 stages of evolution and can also mega evolve, so there is no problem with potential. At present, countries around the world are studying mega evolution technology. I believe that elves that can mega evolve will be discovered soon. At that time, Bobo's potential will be taken to a higher level. Bobo's flying system also restrains the grass type, which meets Zhang Cheng's needs. When encountering a grass elf, he can send Bobo to fight. Bobo is also a relatively common elf, which is very common in the Magnolia Forest in the north of Zhang Cheng. If you want to get Bobo, you don't need to buy it in the breeding house. You can wait until the level of the Mosquito coil tadpole is higher, and then you can capture it in the outskirts of the Magnolia Forest. It is also very dangerous to adventure in the wild. It is also very important to have a Pokémon that can ensure safety and timely retreat. Bobo just meets this requirement. After evolving into Pidgeot, its flying speed exceeds that of most Pokémon. When you encounter danger in the wild and cannot solve it, you can also retreat in time to ensure your own safety. At the same time, Bobo can also learn the Storm skill. In rainy weather, Storm and Thunder are 100% hit and unavoidable skills. Bobo can not only be used to restrain the Grass type, but also cooperate with his own Rainy Day team to use Storm to cause high damage to the Pokémon. Storm and Thunder are both high damage skills with a power of 110 points. The biggest disadvantage of these two skills is that the hit rate is not high. But this problem can be perfectly solved in rainy weather. Considering these conditions, Zhang Cheng believes that Bobo is the only choice for his second Pokémon. At first, Zhang Cheng's idea of building a rainy day team was to capture more elves with special features in rainy weather to improve his combat effectiveness. However, before evolving into Nuwa, the only way to change the weather was to use the rain-seeking skill to create 5 rounds of rainy weather. But even if you can create rainy weather, you have good water-type elves, but you have no way to deal with grass-type and electric-type elves. The rainy day team will only take shape slowly after having Bullfrog. Now we are not in a hurry to capture water-type elves, but should make up for the shortcomings of the attributes being restrained. Through today's battle, Zhang Cheng realized that the first thing a team needs to do is complement each other. That is, a team needs elves with other attributes to target the attributes that are restrained by the team's elves. If you blindly use a full water-type team, you will collapse when you encounter a grass-type elf. So Zhang Cheng's idea of capturing elves now is to expand the elves that restrain the grass-type first, and it is best to match it with rainy weather. Bobo just meets this requirement. Storm can be better played in the rain and has a restraining effect on the grass-type. Later, Zhang Cheng considered that if conditions permit, the third Pokémon would be an electric Pokémon. The thunder of the electric Pokémon can also be used in conjunction with rainy weather, and the rock attribute that the electric Pokémon fears is restrained by the water attribute, so there is no need to worry about the problem of not being able to cause damage when encountering the rock attribute. To summarize the current Pokémon lineup of the team, the first Mosquito repellent tadpole evolves into Bullfrog, and the rainy team lineup is made with Bullfrog's characteristic rainfall. The second Pokémon is Bobo, which can be used with a rainy team to use Storm. After evolving into Pidgeot, it is also a very good means of transportation, and it is also very secure for adventures in the wild. The third Pokémon is an electric Pokémon which must be able to use the Thunder trick and have enough potential. Pokémon that can Mega Evolve are given priority. After these 3 Pokémon are cultivated, the next 3 Pokémon choices are Water Pokémon, and it is best to have Pokémon with a rainy weather characteristic. This kind of rainy day team is the most ideal in Zhang Cheng's mind. With flying Pokémon restraining grass Pokémon, the same electric Pokémon can be used to fight against electric Pokémon. While thinking about these, time passed quickly, and the mosquito-scented tadpole recovered after treatment. Zhang Cheng picked up the mosquito-scented tadpole. You did a good job today. You defeated a powerful opponent like Charmander in the first battle. Mosquito. The mosquito-scented tadpole did not look very happy. Zhang Cheng knew that the mosquito-scented tadpole was blaming himself for the failure in the afternoon, and hurriedly encouraged him. Failure is a normal thing. The opponent is a grass attribute Pokémon, and the attribute is restrained. It is not your problem. Zhang Cheng comforted the mosquito-scented tadpole and patted the mosquito-scented tadpole's head. The mosquito-scented tadpole also shouted happily when he heard the encouragement of the trainer. Seeing that the mosquito-scented tadpole has returned to its previous state, Zhang Cheng was very happy. That's it for today, mosquito-scented tadpole. Let's go home and rest, and continue to fight and accumulate experience tomorrow. After the battle ends tomorrow and we get the Pokémon coins, we will go to buy energy cubes to eat. Zhang Cheng took out sweet things to encourage the mosquito-scented tadpole. The tadpole was very motivated when he heard about the energy cube. He couldn't forget the taste of the energy cube after tasting it last time. The tadpole thought that he must perform well tomorrow and work hard for the energy cube. Chapter 9, Battle Against Water Otter. After a day of fighting, Zhang Cheng returned home with the mosquito-repellent tadpole. After a simple wash, Zhang Cheng also gave the mosquito-repellent tadpole a bath, and then gave it a full-body massage. Zhang Cheng wanted to give the mosquito-repellent tadpole the best condition to meet tomorrow's battle. Looking at the mosquito-repellent tadpole sleeping soundly during the massage, Zhang Cheng showed a gratified smile. After massaging the mosquito-repellent tadpole, Zhang Cheng also set the alarm clock and went to bed, and soon fell asleep. The next morning, ding ding ding, with a rhythmic alarm sound, broke Zhang Cheng's dream. Today is the second day of battle training. After completing today's training tasks, you can receive a reward of 4,000 Pokémon coins. It would be a lie to say that I am not excited. I earned the first sum of money through my own efforts. Zhang Cheng felt very accomplished. He brought the mosquito-repellent tadpole to the netting training ground. After waiting in the lounge for a while, the staff also came here. Behind him was a trainer, who must be Zhang Cheng's opponent this morning. After the staff introduced him, Zhang Cheng knew that the other party was named Yi Lang, and he was also a senior student of Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School. This was the first time Zhang Cheng met an alumnus after crossing over. The other party was quite cold and did not talk to Zhang Cheng the whole time. The staff was the one introducing him all the time. Seeing that the other party did not want to talk, Zhang Cheng did not take the initiative to approach him. After a short rest in the lounge, the two came to the battle side under the guidance of the staff. After briefly introducing the rules, the staff stepped aside. Come out, Water Otter. Yi Lang directly and confidently released his own elf name, Water Otter, Level 3, Gender, Male Qualification, C Attribute, Water Carrying Props, None Basic Skills, Impact, Tail Shaking Genetic Skills, Saltwater Characteristics, Hard Shell Armor, will not be hit in the vitals, even skills that are sure to hit the vitals will not take effect. Notes, Water Otter, Otter Pokemon. After taking the scallop shell that looks like a shell off the belly, it can be used for attack and defense. Through the Goldfinger scan, Zhang Cheng learned the basic information of this Water Otter. Good qualifications, with a genetic skill saltwater needs to be guarded against, and the characteristic is the hidden characteristic of the Water Otter, Hard Shell Armor. These are all the information that Zhang Cheng can learn in advance through the Goldfinger, and he can see through everything before the battle begins. Mosquito Tadpole, it's decided to be you. Zhang Cheng also released the Mosquito Tadpole immediately. Following the instructions of the staff, the game began. The Water Otter attacked as soon as it came up, and its small body hit the Mosquito Tadpole at a very fast speed. The Mosquito Tadpole used a water gun to fight back. A precise water gun hit the Water Otter and directly repelled the charging Water Otter. But the water gun has no way to cause high damage to the Water Otter. If the opponent's Water Otter can use the saltwater skill, Zhang Cheng will be very passive. The damage of the saltwater skill is much higher than that of the water gun, and after the health value is less than half, the saltwater will cause twice the damage. If the opponent uses saltwater to fight a protracted war, it will be very tricky. The worst case still happened. When the Water Otter couldn't get close when using the collision, the trainer directly launched a command, and the Water Otter used the saltwater attack. The Mosquito Tadpole continued to fight back with the water gun. After several rounds of fighting, the health of both sides was less than half. Oh no, the double damage of salt water is about to be triggered. Another collision between the water gun and the salt water. This time the Mosquito Tadpole was directly hit hard and the health was at the bottom. Mosquito Tadpole, can you still fight? Cheer up, Mosquito. Hearing Zhang Cheng's encouragement, the Mosquito Tadpole's fighting spirit burned up and made a sprint towards Zhang Cheng. Zhang Cheng instantly understood what the Mosquito Tadpole meant. Just when the Water Otter was equipped to activate the saltwater skill again, Zhang Cheng directly commanded, now the Mosquito Tadpole uses reckless action. The Mosquito Tadpole rushed directly to the Water Otter at an extremely fast speed, and the Water Otter who was activating the saltwater skill was directly interrupted by the Mosquito Tadpole. A reckless action directly caused heavy damage to the Water Otter, and now the health of both sides is at the bottom at the same time. At this time, the elf with faster speed has an absolute advantage, because whose skill hits first can determine the outcome of this battle. In terms of speed, the mosquito-scented tadpole is definitely among the best among all the newborn elves. The Water Otter, who was hit by a reckless blow, quickly stood up and launched a saltwater attack. The mosquito-scented tadpole was not to be outdone and launched a water gun skill. In terms of speed, the mosquito-scented tadpole was better, and the water gun hit the Water Otter first, and the Water Otter directly lost its ability to fight. After the water gun hit the Water Otter, the opponent's saltwater skill followed closely. The double damage of the saltwater attack directly knocked down the mosquito-scented tadpole, and the mosquito-scented tadpole lost its ability to fight. Since the water otter lost its ability to fight first, the winner of this battle is Zhang Cheng. As the staff announced the results, the battle was also decided. Looking at the final result, Yilang no longer looked as cold as he did at the beginning. "You are lucky this time, but you won't be so lucky next time," Yilang gritted his teeth and said. "You are also from Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School, right? We will have a chance to meet in the campus competition later. You'd better pray not to meet me then. Don't be so arrogant, you defeated opponent. It's not too late to say these nonsense after you win," Zhang Cheng also responded without any hesitation. Hearing this, Yilang had no intention of saying anything more and left the training ground in disgrace. After the battle, Zhang Cheng brought the mosquito-repellent tadpole to the elf treatment room in the training ground again. While waiting for the mosquito-repellent tadpole to recover, Zhang Cheng had a lunch, and then waited patiently in the treatment room for the mosquito-repellent tadpole to recover its combat effectiveness. Now the mosquito-repellent tadpole has learned the skill of reckless action, which can produce unexpected effects when it is at a disadvantage. However, the disadvantage is the stability deviation. The benefit of launching reckless action when the health value is very low is the greatest, but at this time the elf is also the most vulnerable and can be easily defeated and lose its combat ability. This move is still very useful when the mosquito-repellent tadpole has a fast attack speed, but later when other elves evolve and their speed is improved, the mosquito-repellent tadpole will not have an advantage in speed. Zhang Cheng plans to train the mosquito-repellent tadpole's skills after today's battle, and strive to let the mosquito-repellent tadpole learn the bubble ray as soon as possible to improve its combat effectiveness. After Mosquito recovered its fighting power, it was already afternoon, and the last trainer who was going to fight against Zhang Cheng also arrived. Under the guidance of the staff, a match was also held. The Pokémon of this trainer was a level 2 Sandshrew, which must have just been hatched and could fight. Compared with the previous trainers, it was much weaker. After a short fight, Mosquito won and its level was raised to level 4. After the battle, Zhang Cheng settled the reward of the task under the guidance of the staff, and received 4,000 Pokémon coins. After leaving the Nanting training ground, Zhang Cheng walked towards the nearby Pokémon store, intending to buy some energy cubes from Mosquito, which was the promise he had made to Mosquito. Chapter 10, Peaceful Times. Arriving at the elf shop, Zhang Cheng looked at the price of water energy blocks. A low-level energy block requires 500 elf coins. Currently, he has 4,000 elf coins. Zhang Cheng took out 2,000 and bought 4 for Mosquito. With the remaining 2,000 elf coins, Zhang Cheng bought 5 ordinary elf balls, which he kept for catching some elves in the wild in the future. After selecting the goods and checking out, Zhang Cheng took out the energy block and gave it to Mosquito. After seeing the energy block, Mosquito began to eat it without saying a word. In this way, Zhang Cheng held the mosquito who was eating the energy block and walked on the way home together. After returning home, he had a brief chat with his mother for a while and then returned to the room to continue massaging Mosquito. After the massage, Zhang Cheng took out his mobile phone and played the cartoons that the elves like to watch from Mosquito, and he went to take a shower. After washing up, Zhang Cheng returned to the room and found that Mosquito had fallen asleep. After 2 days of high-intensity battles, Mosquito was indeed very tired, so let Mosquito have a good rest today. After a silent night, the sun shone on Zhang Cheng's face the next morning. Zhang Cheng's sweet dream was interrupted by the ringing of the alarm clock. After turning off the alarm, Zhang Cheng went back to sleep. He was really tired in the past 2 days, so he let himself and the mosquito-repellent tadpole have a good rest. Combining work and rest will be more efficient. Zhang Cheng slept until noon before getting up. After a simple wash and lunch, Zhang Cheng also took the mosquito-repellent tadpole to train. Zhang Cheng planned to train the accuracy of the mosquito-repellent tadpole's skills first. He found some broken tiles nearby, and Zhang Cheng threw the broken tiles out for the mosquito-repellent tadpole to practice attacking moving targets with a water gun. At first, it was difficult to hit because the tiles were small and fast. With a continuous practice of the mosquito-repellent tadpole, the accuracy became higher and higher, and later it had a hit rate of 50%. Zhang Cheng was very satisfied with this progress. Now the mosquito-repellent tadpole's water gun skills have been used to perfection. After the practice, Zhang Cheng immediately rewarded the mosquito-repellent tadpole with an energy block. With the motivation of the energy cube, the mosquito-repellent tadpole is more motivated. After a good rest, the main requirement is to continue training. Zhang Cheng follows his own plan and lets the mosquito-repellent tadpole conduct bubble ray skill training. Bubble ray is the inherited skill of the mosquito-repellent tadpole. Now the mosquito-repellent tadpole has a lot of combat experience and skill proficiency. Zhang Cheng thinks it is time for the mosquito-repellent tadpole to develop new skills to increase the combat effectiveness of the mosquito-repellent tadpole. Zhang Cheng first shows the bubble ray video on the mobile phone to the mosquito-repellent tadpole, and then guides the mosquito-repellent tadpole to operate according to the online tutorial. However, the mosquito-repellent tadpole is very qualified. After a period of trial, the mosquito-repellent tadpole gradually learned to use the bubble ray. The mosquito-repellent tadpole spits out a lot of foam from its mouth, which soon causes damage to the tree trunk. The current bubble ray has taken shape, but its power is still not as high as that of the water gun. Zhang Cheng believes that after practice, the effect will definitely get better and better. For a period of time, the mosquito-repellent tadpole will use bubble ray as the main means of attack. After training until sunset, Zhang Cheng ended the training of the mosquito-repellent tadpole. Training should not be rushed, and steady progress is the best. After returning home, Zhang Cheng gave the mosquito-scented tadpole a massage as usual, and then watched the ELF TV series with a mosquito-scented tadpole. During this period of time, the mosquito-scented tadpole and Zhang Cheng became closer and closer, and the tacit understanding between the two became higher and higher. In the next 2 days, Zhang Cheng has been doing special training on the mosquito-scented tadpole with bubble rays. In the subsequent training, the mosquito-scented tadpole also mastered the skill of the Eye of the Heart. This also brought Zhang Cheng an unexpected surprise. I didn't expect the mosquito-scented tadpole to be so talented and comprehend the new genetic skills so quickly. After the Eye of the Heart is activated, the next attack can guarantee that the opponent will be hit. For the elves with low health but high dodge rate, this trick can have a very good effect. Zhang Cheng also tried to let the mosquito-scented tadpole launch the Eye of the Heart and then use a water gun to attack the moving target. Sure enough, it was 100 shots, and the hit rate after launching the Eye of the Heart was scary. But the Eye of the Heart also has a disadvantage, that is, repeated use will fail, and the number of uses is limited. Zhang Cheng thought about it carefully and felt that it was quite reasonable. After all, such a skill, combined with a high damage skill with a low hit rate, was too abnormal to use all the time. In the next week, Zhang Cheng repeated the same pattern, training with mosquito coil tadpole every day during the day, taking good care of mosquito coil tadpole after returning home at night, and letting mosquito coil tadpole relax. The combination of work and rest training made mosquito coil tadpole very enjoyable. But after a week of such days, Zhang Cheng realized a very serious problem. That is, there is no money. The last 4,000 yuan of elf coins have been used up, and the food bought when buying mosquito coil tadpole elf eggs is almost finished. If you don't take the task to earn elf coins, Zhang Cheng and mosquito coil tadpole may starve to death. So Zhang Cheng and mosquito coil tadpole had turned this comfortable time and began to take on the tasks issued by the Elf Alliance Center to earn elf coins. Chapter 11 Shannon Orchard. The next morning, Zhang Cheng brought mosquito-repellent tadpole to the task center, intending to accept some tasks. There is no way, without money it is really difficult to move forward. Following the steps last time, Zhang Cheng opened the personal task center and checked the bronze level tasks. At present, he still cannot accept silver level tasks. He will do some basic tasks to earn elf coins first. After looking through the tasks posted by the task center, Zhang Cheng was a little disappointed. The tasks were basically the type of maintaining public order. But it is normal to think about it. It is lucky to encounter a good thing like the elf training ground that can improve the strength of the elves and also earn money. After some selection, Zhang Cheng chose a 10-day task of guarding the orchard. Guarding work in Shannon Orchard for 10 days, the reward is 40,000 elf coins. After Zhang Cheng accepted the task, he took the mosquito-repellent tadpole back home and packed some clothes and daily necessities. Shannon Orchard is still a certain distance away from his home. It is not very convenient to go home every day. Zhang Cheng plans to stay in the orchard for 10 days before coming back. After packing up his things, Zhang Cheng told his mother about the task he accepted and needed to go out for 10 days. After hearing this, the mother did not object and told Zhang Cheng to be careful when he was alone outside. Zhang Cheng knew his mother's concerns and promised her again that he would pay attention to safety and told her not to worry. There was no conversation at night. The next morning, urged by the alarm clock, Zhang Cheng took a backpack with clothes and mosquito coils and called a taxi to Shining Orchard. In this world full of Pokemon, taxis are not used by many people. Most high-level trainers have a Pokemon that can be used as a means of transportation. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng also wanted a Pidgeot urgently. After evolving into Pidgeot, he would not have to take a taxi, which would save a lot of time and money. However, it was impossible to achieve this in the short term, so he could only take a taxi honestly. Near noon, Zhang Cheng came to Shining Orchard. Shining Orchard is currently the largest orchard in Jiangcheng City, and most of the fruit trees planted there are used for Pokemon. Zhang Cheng came to the entrance registration office to briefly explain the situation. After the staff confirmed his identity, they took Zhang Cheng into the orchard. First, they took Zhang Cheng to the dormitory in the park. After placing the items, the staff gave Zhang Cheng a set of work clothes. The task assigned to Zhang Cheng by the orchard was to guard a peach tree that was about to mature. Peach fruit is a common and widely used fruit among tree fruits. Peach fruit has the effect of detoxification. After the elves are poisoned, taking peach fruit can quickly relieve the poisoning state. Whether in battle or in outdoor adventures, peach fruit is a very important fruit. If the elves are poisoned in the wild, they will be in danger of life if they are not treated for a long time, so antidotes and peach fruit are essential items for outdoor adventures. The official price of a mature peach fruit is 300 elf coins, which is a medium price. Now Zhang Cheng is responsible for guarding a peach tree that will mature in 10 days. The main thing to protect is some Bobo and Lek from entering the park, who may steal the fruit. What Zhang Cheng needs to do is to drive away the Bobo and Lek who want to steal the fruit. The level of the Bobo and Lek near the orchard is not too high. There are other guards nearby, and they can also seek support when encountering difficult situations. The staff arranged the relevant precautions and left. The following days repeated the same rhythm, and every day while guarding the orchard, he did basic training for the mosquito-scented tadpoles. Because there were often some elves harassing, the mosquito-scented tadpoles could not be trained at high intensity. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome if the mosquito-scented tadpoles had too much physical energy and the Spearow appeared. In the past few days, there were also several Bobo passing by, trying to steal peach fruits, but they were all repelled by the mosquito-scented tadpoles with water guns. After Zhang Cheng found that there were Bobo in these places, he also had the idea of capturing Bobo. According to Zhang Cheng's original idea, he would go to the Magnolia Forest to capture Bobo after the mosquito-scented tadpoles reached level 10. But now there are Bobos in the orchard from time to time, and they can also be captured in advance and start training earlier. It is best to capture an elf when it is in its larval stage. Elves will be difficult to tame if they live in the wild for too long. And because there are no healing tools in the wild, it takes a long time for the elves to recover after being injured, which also leads to the fact that the lifespan of high-level elves in the wild will not be very long. Because they need more time to accumulate combat experience, the time required for trainers' Pokemon to reach level 30 is very different from that of wild Pokemon. Now the Pidgeots in the orchard are all young Pidgeots who have just been born and are only about level 3. They are relatively gentle, easier to capture, and have higher training value. The idea is good, but Zhang Cheng's luck in the past 2 days is not very good. Most of the Pidgeots he met are of L-level qualifications, and the best one is only of D-level qualifications. Of course, it cannot be said that he is unlucky. There is also the factor of Zhang Cheng's high vision. For ordinary trainers, Pokémons with D-level qualifications are already good. But Zhang Cheng will not be satisfied with this. If a team wants to become stronger, the qualifications of each Pokémon must be relatively high. One advantage for Zhang Cheng is that he can check the information of these Pokémons through the cheat code, so he doesn't have to take them to the Pokémon Center to test their qualifications after capturing them. In this Pokémon world, there is also a Pokémon illustrated book, but the Pokémon illustrated book can only detect the level and simple introduction of the Pokémon, so Zhang Cheng has never used the illustrated book. After all, as a cheat code player, the illustrated book is basically useless. It lasted until the 6th day of guarding the orchard. After many battles with a Bobo Spearow, the mosquito-repellent tadpole was upgraded to level 5. Through the battles with a mosquito-repellent tadpole, the use of the bubble beam has become more and more proficient, and now it can replace the water gun as the main means of attack. Just when Zhang Cheng was happy about the upgrade of the mosquito-repellent tadpole, a Bobo suddenly came outside the orchard. This made Zhang Cheng feel unhappy. He came to make trouble at this time. He must teach this Babo a lesson. Let it know that if you provoke someone you shouldn't provoke, you will end up well. While thinking about this, Zhang Cheng's mouth did not slow down at all. He immediately commanded the mosquito-repellent tadpole to emit a bubble beam to attack the Babo who was about to steal the peach fruit. Zhang Cheng was also scanning the information of the Babo at this time. When he saw half of it, Zhang Cheng was stunned. It turned out to be a Babo with B-level qualifications. Oh, it smells so good. I'm sorry that I said the wrong thing just now. From now on, you will be our companion. Zhang Cheng was very excited at this moment. Today was a double happiness. After the tadpole was upgraded, he met a high-quality Babo that he had always wanted. Chapter 12, Conquering Babo. Zhang Cheng opened the information panel again to confirm whether there were any problems with the data of Pidgeot he saw. Name, Pidgeot, Level 3, Gender, Female Qualification, B Attributes, Flying, General Carrying Items, None Basic Skills, Impact, Sand Throwing Inherited Skills, See-Through, Steel Wings, Brave Bird Attack, Air Blade Characteristics, Sharp Eyes. The height rate ability change will not be reduced by the opponent in any way, ignoring the improvement of the target's dodge rate ability change. Notes, Pidgeot is an air Pokémon. It is the most gentle and easiest to catch among the flying Pokémon and is the best target for Pokémon trainers to try their skills. This Pidgeot is indeed a B-level qualification, with as many as 4 inherited skills, which is very good among the Pidgeot group. Generally speaking, only the 3 starters have a high probability of being B-level or above qualifications, and it is very good for Pidgeot to have B-level qualifications. After reading Pidgeot's personal information, Zhang Cheng was determined to get this Pidgeot. At this time, Zhang Cheng felt that his decision to buy 5 Pokeballs was very correct. If he had not bought the Pokeballs in advance, he would have been staring blankly at such a high-quality Pidgeot. How could he capture it without a ball? Could he knock Pidgeot out and then buy Pokeballs? That was obviously not realistic. This Pidgeot was obviously very energetic. It quickly flew to the tree trunk and opened its mouth to eat the peach fruit. How could Zhang Cheng let it succeed? If the fruit was eaten, he would be deducted from his salary. Mosquito Tadpole, stop Pidgeot quickly. Hearing the trainer's command, Mosquito Tadpole aimed at Pidgeot and fired a foam beam. Pidgeot was about to enjoy the peach fruit, but was suddenly attacked and not prepared. Pidgeot was attacked and several feathers fell off immediately. When it was suddenly attacked, Pidgeot was also alert and stared at Mosquito Tadpole. Pidgeot is a very docile Pokémon and generally does not actively attack the trainer. Although he has a gentle personality, he is also very angry when he is attacked. He charged at the Mosquito Coil Tadpole, and saw a silver light on Babo's wings. It's the Steel Wing skill, Zhang Cheng said in surprise. You know, this Babo is only level 3, and he has learned a genetic skill. The Mosquito Coil Tadpole evaded and was hit by a steel wing. After being injured, the Mosquito Coil Tadpole was also very alert. While dodging Babo's attack, he spit out foam rays from his mouth. Babo's speed was also very fast, and several attacks were narrowly avoided. However, as his physical strength was consumed, Babo's flying speed also slowed down. After all, he was an elf who was born not long ago, and his physical strength was not very durable. The Mosquito Coil Tadpole seized the opportunity and sent out a powerful foam ray directly, hitting Babo's wings directly. Babo, whose wings were attacked, lost his balance and swayed towards the ground. When he was about to hit the ground, Babo suddenly gathered his energy and flew away. However, the speed was obviously much slower than before. On the one hand, it was because of the injury, and on the other hand, it was because the bubble beam emitted by the Mosquito Coil Tadpole just now triggered the effect of reducing the speed. Now the flying speed of Babo can be described as very slow. Zhang Cheng saw this good opportunity and would not hesitate. He threw out the Pokémon ball directly and hit Babo accurately in the air. The Pokémon ball directly took Babo inside, and then fell directly to the grass because of the loss of power. Zhang Cheng's side immediately shifted to the Pokémon ball, and saw that the Pokémon ball was shaking slowly. Just when Zhang Cheng was full of expectations, Babo suddenly broke free from the ball. I didn't expect this Babo to be so tenacious and could break free from the Pokémon ball. Zhang Cheng now likes this Babo more and more. The Mosquito Coil Tadpole used another water gun attack. Mosquito the powerful water column directly hit Babo, and Babo instantly lost his ability to fight. Zhang Cheng saw this and immediately threw out the second Pokémon ball, and after 3 shakes, he successfully captured Babo. Fortunately, I have prepared enough Pokeballs. Pokeballs will be directly damaged after failing to capture Pokemon. If you only carry 1 or 2 Pokeballs, it will be very troublesome after the capture fails. And Pokeballs can only be purchased from institutions authorized by the League, and the purchase of Pokeballs must be bound to the identity of the trainer. Users who do this are mainly to prevent trainers from capturing Pokemon for sale. The League clearly states that Pokemon can only be used for training in battles by trainers, and cannot be used as money transactions. After the Pokeballs are registered with real names, if Pokemon are traded privately, they will soon be discovered by the League. If Pokemon are sold, the trainer's qualification will be directly revoked. After taming Pidgeot, Zhang Cheng immediately took Pidgeot to the treatment room in the orchard. Pidgeot was seriously injured in the previous battle, and Pidgeot, who is still in the larval stage, can't withstand such destruction. Zhang Cheng asked the mosquito-repellent tadpole to stay next to the peach fruit tree to prevent other Spearows and Pidgeots from stealing the fruit. After sending Bobo to the treatment room, Zhang Cheng hurried back to the side of the mosquito-scented tadpole. Zhang Cheng was still quite worried about letting the mosquito-scented tadpole face the Pokemon in the wild alone. Fortunately, everything was normal with the mosquito-scented tadpole, and there had been no elves coming to steal the fruit in the past few hours. After the handover at night, Zhang Cheng took the mosquito-scented tadpole to the treatment room to check on Bobo's condition. After the treatment of the medical staff, Bobo had almost recovered. Bobo also called softly after seeing Zhang Cheng. Bobo seeing Bobo's energetic appearance, Zhang Cheng was also very happy and took out some elf food for Bobo to eat. After eating the food, Bobo became closer to Zhang Cheng, and flew directly to Zhang Cheng's shoulder, rubbing Zhang Cheng's cheek with his feathered wings. While feeding Bobo, Zhang Cheng also gave the mosquito-scented tadpole some elf snacks. After seeing that the two elves were full and satisfied, Zhang Cheng took them back to their residence. Mosquito, Pidgeot, you will be teammates fighting side by side from now on. Please get to know each other. Mosquito Bobo Pop. The two Pokémon soon communicated with each other. Mosquito is a passionate Pokémon and kept talking to Pidgeot. And this Pidgeot is its Sundeer character. Most of the time, he listened to Mosquito with its Sundeer face, and occasionally responded. However, Mosquito did not feel impatient. It seemed that he liked the feeling of having other partners, so he kept talking to Pidgeot. Zhang Cheng guessed that Mosquito should be talking to Pidgeot about his trainer. Of course, this is just Zhang Cheng's own idea. As for what they discussed specifically, only the talking Meowth could tell him. After midnight, Zhang Cheng also interrupted their communication and urged Mosquito and Pidgeot to go to bed, because they needed to get up early to guard the orchard tomorrow. The two elves quickly fell asleep under Zhang Cheng's urging. Looking at the two elves, Zhang Cheng smiled and slowly fell asleep in a good mood. Chapter 13 Mission End. Today is the 7th day of guarding the orchard. Zhang Cheng got up early, washed up, and woke up Bobo and Mosquito who were still sleeping. Today, Bobo joined the new partner in guarding the orchard, and the two elves can take turns guarding the fruit trees. This will give the elves a lot more time to train. Before, when there was only Mosquito, Zhang Cheng did not dare to conduct high-intensity training, worried that Mosquito would consume too much physical strength, and it would be troublesome for other elves to steal peaches. Now there is no need to worry about this problem. In the morning, Zhang Cheng first arranged Mosquito to guard the fruit trees and took Bobo for preliminary training. After all, Bobo was just conquered, and Zhang Cheng needed to understand the proficiency of Bobo's skills to make a training plan for Bobo. At present, Bobo has mastered the following skills: collision, sand throwing and steel wings. Zhang Cheng wants to see how powerful Bobo's skills are. Bobo, use all the skills you have learned so far to perform once with all your strength. Bobo Pidgeot was also very excited when he heard the trainer's command, thinking that he must show his powerful side. This is a very proud Pidgeot. Pidgeot flew into the air, his wings flashing with silver luster, and rushed directly to the trunk of the fruit tree with a steel wing skill. The steel wing skill landed accurately on the trunk, cutting off a piece of the bark of the peach fruit tree. Zhang Cheng was very satisfied with the power of Pidgeot's steel wing skill. Pidgeot in its larval stage can master a genetic skill proficiently. This Pidgeot has a high level of comprehension. Pidgeot did a great job. Use a collision trick next. Zhang Cheng encouraged Pidgeot while commanding Pidgeot to use the collision. Pidgeot then used his own collision skill, which was much weaker than steel wing in terms of power and proficiency. It seems that this Pidgeot is also more inclined to use gorgeous and high damage skills. Steel Wings is a powerful skill that looks very cool when used, so it is naturally loved by Popo. As for the clumsy attack method of collision, Popo doesn't like it very much. Zhang Cheng also has a certain understanding of Popo through a brief contact. Zhang Cheng then asked Popo to use the trick of sand pulling. Skills such as sand pulling and water playing are easy for ordinary elves to master. This skill does not require too much training, as long as it can be used normally and play the due effect. For Popo's next training, Zhang Cheng plans to focus on the Steel Wings skill and Popo's speed. Steel Wings will be Popo's main means of attack for a period of time in the future, and speed is naturally the biggest advantage for flying elves. Zhang Cheng wants his elves to maximize the advantage. In the training with Popo, the morning passed quickly. After lunch, Zhang Cheng asked Popo to rest aside and guard the orchard. Then he conducted special training on the various skills of Mosquito Coil Tadpole. After these days of practice, Mosquito Coil Tadpole has become very proficient in the use of water guns and bubble rays. Now we need to practice the skill of Reckless Action, which can turn the situation around at a critical moment. The skill of Reckless Action can also be used in combination with Popo's Lightning Flash. In the future 3v3 elf competition, Mosquito can use a Reckless Action when it is about to lose its combat effectiveness. In this way, after Popo comes on the field, you can use the first-hand mechanism of Lightning Flash to eliminate the opponent's elves. The effect of Lightning Flash is that you can definitely attack first. When facing elves with low health, this move has a huge advantage. In fact, the earliest combination of these two skills appeared on Rada. Rada can learn Reckless Action and Lightning Flash at the same time, and can use Reckless Action and Lightning Flash when the health value is low. In this case, even if the opponent's attack speed is faster, there is no way, because Lightning Flash has the effect of first attack. However, Zhang Cheng did not plan to cultivate Rada. Rada was not very strong in the early stage. Not only did it evolve only once, but it also had no mega evolution, so it was not within Zhang Cheng's consideration. After a day of training, Zhang Cheng returned to his residence and cleaned the bodies of Mosquito Coil Tadpole and Babo thoroughly. Then, he gave Babo a full body massage according to the massage techniques he had used on Mosquito Coil Tadpole before. The arrogant Babo could not resist Zhang Cheng's skilled massage techniques and gradually fell in love with this feeling. The next 3 days of guarding were very dull. Babo and Mosquito Coil Tadpole took turns to rest and train, and they also fought against many wild elves during this period. Babo successfully reached level 4 in a few days of training and fighting. After 10 days of training and fighting, Mosquito Coil Tadpole also reached level 6 on the last day. Seeing the growth of the two elves, Zhang Cheng was happy from the bottom of his heart. Near the evening, after handing over the last day of guarding tasks, Zhang Cheng took the elves back to his residence to rest. Tomorrow, he can go to the financial department of the orchard to collect the task reward. 40,000 elf coins is a huge sum of money for Zhang Cheng at present. Zhang Cheng has already made plans in his mind for how to spend these 40,000 elf coins. First, spend 10,000 elf coins to buy food for 2 elves for the remaining month of summer vacation. Use 10,000 of the remaining 20,000 elf coins to buy energy blocks for the flying and water systems, and keep the remaining 10,000 for future use. After solving the problem of food for the elves, Zhang Cheng also has to start saving money. It will cost a lot of money to buy skill learning machines for the elves later. There are also props for the elves to carry, and the elves that will be conquered later may use evolution stones. All aspects require elf coins. Thinking about these, Zhang Cheng is also a bit of a headache. There is still a long way to go in the future. Making money is a long way to go. The next morning, Zhang Cheng came to the finance office of Shannon Orchard to receive his 40,000 elf coins reward. In addition to 40,000 elf coins, the orchard also gave away 10 peach fruits. It is worthy of being the largest orchard in Jiangcheng, and the treatment of temporary workers is also very good. The 10-day mission is over, and this trip to the orchard can be said to be very successful. Not only did he earn a lot of elf coins, but he also had new companions join him. On the way home, Zhang Cheng bought 20,000 elf food and 10,000 energy cubes according to yesterday's budget, and stored the remaining 10,000 elf coins. After completing the task, Zhang Cheng felt a lot more relaxed. After returning home, he had a good sleep with the elves. It was not until noon the next day that Zhang Cheng woke up in a daze. After waking up, he found that Babo and Mosquito were communicating with each other. A new day has begun. Today Zhang Cheng plans to let everyone have a good rest. Everyone has been working hard recently, and it is time to have a good rest, but after the rest, there will be devil training. Bobo and Mosquito were still chattering beside the bed, not realizing the seriousness of the problem. Chapter 14 School is about to start. With the addition of Pidgeot, one person and two elves spent the remaining 1 month of summer vacation together. Every morning, they woke up to the sound of the alarm clock and started a day of special training. In the morning, under the guidance of Zhang Cheng, the two elves trained their skills, and in the afternoon, the two elves fought against each other. However, in most cases, Mosquito won. Mosquito is higher in level than Pidgeot and has more combat experience. Pidgeot has not yet officially fought against other trainers' elves. Zhang Cheng wanted to go to the training ground to train Pidgeot's actual combat ability, but he was not as lucky as last time. If you can't accept the task of sparring at the training ground, you need to pay 3,000 yuan a day for the battle fee if you want to go to the training ground, which is not affordable for Zhang Cheng at present. If you want Pidgeot to have actual combat training, you have to wait until school starts. After school starts, the students in the class will have their own elves. At that time, competitions and exchanges within the class in between grades will definitely be indispensable. In the last month, Zhang Cheng also went to the mission center to accept 2 missions to maintain public order. In the end, he obtained a total of 30,000 elf coins. Together with the remaining elf coins from Shannon Orchard, he currently has a total of 40,000 elf coins. Through this month's training, the levels of Mosquito, Tadpole and Bobo have also been improved. Bobo has been promoted to level 6 and has also learned the skill of wind. Mosquito Tadpole has been promoted to level 9 and has also learned the skill of hypnosis. Zhang Cheng plans to focus on training Mosquito Tadpole's hypnosis in recent training. The hit rate of this skill is relatively low. It is difficult to hypnotize the opponent's elves without more practice. However, in order to practice the skill of hypnosis, you must use elves as practice objects, so Bobo is lucky to become a sparring object. Of course, hypnosis is only a mild hypnotic effect and will not cause long-term sleep. The elves will wake up naturally within 1 to 4 rounds, but Bobo is very suitable as a sparring elf for hypnosis. Bobo's flexibility makes it more difficult for Mosquito Tadpole to hit hypnosis. Facing a high-difficulty training object will definitely improve his own strength. One person and 2 elves spent a summer vacation like this. Tomorrow is the day when Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School will start school. On the last day before school starts, Zhang Cheng has no idea of training and plans to have a good rest. On the last day before school starts, everyone's psychology may undergo some subtle changes. He still thinks that school will start later. Just when Zhang Cheng was planning to spend the last day of this vacation in bed, the ringtone of his mobile phone suddenly rang. Zhang Cheng opened it and saw that it was a call from his deskmate Yutian. Since coming to this world, Zhang Cheng has not contacted other people. Now thinking back, he does have such a deskmate with whom he has a good relationship. Zhang Cheng, you didn't contact me for a whole summer vacation. I thought you were missing. Yutian began to greet him cordially after answering the phone. Zhang Cheng said helplessly, I'm busy with elves recently. It's a headache to become a trainer. Of course, he couldn't admit that he forgot the existence of Yutian. Come to think of it, I'm also very busy recently. Yutian also experienced it deeply. Speaking of which, Yutian, what was your first elf? Zhang Cheng was also very curious about what elf his deskmate would choose. Oh, my initial elf is a green caterpillar. What about you? Zhang Cheng knew that Yutian's family conditions were not very good, so choosing a green caterpillar as the first elf was actually a very good choice. Insect-type elves upgrade quickly in the early stage and can quickly form combat effectiveness. Yutian can obtain good resources by improving the combat effectiveness of his first elf, and then obtain better elves later. And the green caterpillar also has a strong combat effectiveness after evolving into a butterfly. If used properly, it will be a very functional elf that will give opponents a headache. Mine is a mosquito repellent tadpole. At present, I plan to form a water attribute team. Okay, young man, you have a lot of ideas. You are the future water king of our Huaxia country. Stop talking nonsense. What's the matter with you suddenly looking for me today? Look at you, you said that if there is nothing to do, can't I contact you to keep in touch with you? Are you interested in coming out today to let our elves learn from each other? Yutian, this guy, said that it was okay, but the next sentence was to pull himself out to fight. Okay, no problem. Let's go to the Nanting training ground for the battle. I've been there and it's not bad, no problem. See you later, beep beep beep. After saying that, Yi-Yan hung up the phone. This guy is always in a hurry and resolute. Originally, Yi-Yan had no intention of going out today, but he became interested in the battle. Now Popo just lacks combat experience, and fighting with Yi-Yan can also help Popo improve. Yi-Yan doesn't even know that he has a flying type Popo. Zhang Cheng made up his mind to educate his bug-type Pokemon later. With Mosquito and Popo, Zhang Cheng took a taxi to the Nanting training ground, only to find that Yi-Yan was waiting for him at the gate of the training ground. Zhang Cheng, you are too slow. I've been waiting at the gate for a long time, Yi-Yan complained. Damn, your house is much closer than mine. Who told you to come so early? Okay, let's not talk about this, let's go in and fight. My elf is already thirsty. I think it's you who is thirsty. Seeing this guy's excitement, Zhang Cheng is more determined to use the flying elf to educate him. Because Zhang Cheng has been here before, he is also very familiar with the process of renting a training ground. He went directly to the front desk to register and complete the formalities, and paid the venue fee of 3,000 elf coins. After waiting for a while, he was led to the training ground by the staff. Because it was a simple competition, there was no need for a referee. Zhang Cheng asked the staff to rest, and he and Yi-Yan could fight and compete. Zhang Cheng, I won't show mercy. The loser will treat you to a meal later. It's not too late to regret it now, Yi-Yan jokingly hit Zhang Cheng. I also want to say that it's not too late for you to take back what you said just now, because I have prepared a big gift package for you, Zhang Cheng said while releasing Bobo. Come out, Bobo. Oh my god, you actually have a second Pokemon, and it's a flying type. You're leaving me no way to live, Yi-Yan said with a painful face. It's too late to regret now. Stop talking nonsense and release your caterpillar to fight. Upon hearing this, Yi-Yan swept away his previous painful expression and said in a pretentious manner, I don't mean to regret it. I need to correct one thing. It's not a caterpillar, but Butterfree. Come out, Butterfree. Zhang Cheng was also very surprised when he saw Yi-Yan release Butterfree. You know, the caterpillar needs to reach level 10 to evolve into Butterfree. His own tadpole is only level 9 at the moment, but after thinking about it, Zhang Cheng doesn't think it's that hard to accept. After all, the growth rate of insect-type Pokemon in the early stages is very fast. Yi-Yan is also very hard-working. It is indeed reasonable for him to evolve into Butterfree in one summer vacation. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15, Battle Against Butterfree. While thinking about these, Zhang Cheng also began to use the system to check the basic information of Yi-Yan's Butterfree, name, Butterfree, level 10, gender, female qualification, C attributes, flying, insect-carrying items, non-basic skills, impact, insect bite, silk spinning, hardening, wind inherited skills, non-characteristics, compound eyes. Because it has compound eyes, the hit rate of skills will be multiplied by 1.3 times. Notes, Butterfree, a butterfly Pokemon, the evolution of Metapod, can bounce on the water surface with the scales on its wings. Caterpillars have no inherited skills, so even if this caterpillar evolves into Butterfree, the inherited skills column is empty. However, from the information panel, it can be seen that this Butterfree is still very good, with C-level qualifications. For a starter Pokemon, C-level qualifications can only be said to be average, but it is very good in Butterfree. Most insect-type Pokemon are relatively weak and their qualifications are not very high. A Butterfree with C-level qualifications is very rare. Why don't you switch to your Mosquito coil tadpole? Your Bobo should have just been captured not long ago, and its level is only level 6. Are you sure you want to challenge it? Yi-Yan said confidently after looking up Bobo's level through the illustrations. Don't be overconfident. Although Bobo's level is not high, it can restrain your Butterfree. Don't underestimate the enemy so quickly, Zhang Cheng kindly reminded Yi-Yan. Then come on, let me see how you can beat my Butterfree. Butterfree, let's go first and use the wind attack. After hearing the order, Butterfree immediately flapped its wings, and 2 small whirlwinds condensed from Butterfree's wings and flew towards Bobo. Although Yi-Yan is arrogant, he does have some skills. Facing the flying-type Bobo, Yiyan plans to use the only flying-type trick that Butterfree has learned so far to attack. The power of the insect-type trick will be halved. Yiyan has also done a lot of homework this summer vacation and has rich combat experience. Popo used his best steel wings to fight back. Although it was Popo's first time in actual combat, he didn't seem panicked at all. Facing Butterfree's wind attack, Popo showed his silver wings and rushed towards the whirlwind. The sharp steel wings broke through the whirlwind and came directly in front of Butterfree. A steel wing hit, but due to the blocking of the wind skill, the power of the steel wing hitting Butterfree was greatly weakened. When Butterfree saw Popo approaching, he immediately launched the insect bite. The power of the insect bite skill is not small. Even with the attribute advantage, Popo was not very comfortable. The difference in level made up for the lack of attributes. Popo, who was attacked, did not show weakness. A close-range wind skill was launched, hitting Butterfree and also widening the distance between the two sides. After 2 rounds of fighting, the health of both sides also dropped by more than half, and the battle began to enter a white-hot stage. Damn it, I underestimated the enemy. I didn't expect that a level 6 Pidgeot would be such a threat. I don't believe that my level 10 Butterfree can't beat a level 6 Pidgeot, Yiyan said angrily. Zhang Cheng said frankly, the damage of skills with attributes that restrain Pidgeot will be doubled. Butterfree's advantage in level has been leveled, seeing Yiyan's unconvinced expression. Zhang Cheng thought of the legendary master of reverse attributes. Yiyan clearly knew that the attribute restraint was in place, but he still believed that he had absolute confidence that he could defeat himself. It must be said that he is also a master of reverse attributes. Butterfree approaches Pidgeot and uses Bug Bite again. Pidgeot uses Wind Blow to push Butterfree away. Both Pokémons used skills at the same time, but unfortunately Butterfree's Bug Bite missed and was blown away by Pidgeot's Wind Blow, and also suffered considerable damage. Butterfree held on and used Wind Blow again. Upon hearing the trainer's command, Butterfree immediately condensed a whirlwind on its wings. Zhang Cheng estimated that Butterfree's health should have reached the bottom, so he asked Bobo to use Wind Rising to fight. Bobo, let's use Wind Rising 2 and decide the winner directly. The 2 elves began to gather whirlwinds on their wings. The whole training ground seemed to be blown by a strong wind, and the momentum of the 2 elves reached its peak. 2 whirlwinds were sent out at the same time, hitting the bodies of the other elves. Bobo and Butterfree fell to the ground after being attacked by the whirlwinds. After struggling on the ground for a while, they both lost their ability to fight, and the final result was a draw. After the battle, Zhang Cheng also called the staff to take the elves down for treatment. This draw was unexpected by both of them. Yiyan believed that with his advantage in Butterfree's level, he would have a high probability of winning. Zhang Cheng thought that Butterfree's health had reached the bottom at the last moment, and as Bobo's health had an advantage, so he let Bobo take the opponent's skills to exchange health. It seems that I still have to be more cautious in the future, and don't try things that are not sure. At the last moment, Zhang Cheng underestimated the enemy. Zhang Cheng also silently remembered the lesson of this battle and would not make the same mistake again. And Yiyan also realized through this battle that the gap in the level of the Pokémon can be made up by the attributes, and the strength should not be determined by the level alone. This battle has gained a lot for the 2 new trainers. Through continuous battles, they have accumulated experience and gradually become stronger. I didn't expect it to be a tie. Zhang Cheng, you are good at it. I was too confident. It turns out that the restraint of attributes has such a big effect, Yiyan said first. You are also very good. You can evolve the green caterpillar into the butterfly in such a short time. It really surprised me, Zhang Cheng responded. Fighting each other can indeed gain a lot of experience. Not only the Pokémon has been improved, but the trainer will also accumulate command experience through battles, Yiyan said with a thoughtful expression. That's true, Zhang Cheng sighed. It's useless to talk about it on paper. Only when it comes to actual combat will many things be reflected. School is about to start, so work hard. Upon hearing that school was about to start, Yiyan immediately frowned. I heard that the senior year will be under closed boarding management, and I may not be able to go home for several months. Yiyan is an extremely homesick person, and he was obviously very depressed after being away from home for a few months. It's just a few months. After the college entrance examination, choose a university in Zhang, and then you can go home every day. Zhang Cheng looked at Yiyan's uncomfortable look and hurried to encourage him. That's right, you are so old now, you really should train yourself well, and work hard together after school starts, Yan quickly adjusted his mood and said to Zhang Cheng, "Of course, it's getting late, let's go see how the elves are recovering, and then we'll go home after the elves recover," Zhang Cheng said as he walked towards the treatment room. Yan followed closely behind, and the two of them faced the sunset and headed towards the distance. Chapter 16, School Starts. After confirming that the elves have recovered, Zhang Cheng and Yakai went home and prepared to pack up for boarding school tomorrow. After arriving home, Zhang Cheng first told his mother about going to school tomorrow. After understanding the situation, his mother was very supportive. Zhang Cheng was very moved. He had a very considerate mother who supported him silently in everything he did. After dinner, Zhang Cheng began to pack his clothes for replacement. The bedding would be distributed directly at school, so there was no need to bring it. After packing up, Zhang Cheng continued to massage the two little elves. "Babo, your performance today is very good. In the first battle, you tied with a 4-level higher Butterfree," Zhang Cheng encouraged Babo. Babo looked arrogant, as if saying, "This is a small matter. My strength has not been fully exerted yet." Looking at the arrogant Babo, Zhang Cheng also patted its head lovingly. "Mosquito coil tadpole, Babo, we will live in a new environment tomorrow. There will be many challenges waiting for us. Do you have confidence?" Mosquito. Babo. Both elves nodded and said no problem. Looking at the state of his elves, Zhang Cheng is also very much looking forward to the next campus life. After the massage, Zhang Cheng set the alarm clock for 7 in the morning, and then fell asleep with the two little ones in his arms. In the early morning, a ray of sunlight shone through the layers of branches and hit Zhang Cheng's face. Accompanied by a familiar alarm clock, Zhang Cheng started the first day of school. With the clothes packed last night, he said goodbye to his mother and took a taxi to Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School. It was almost 9 o'clock when he arrived at the gate of Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School. He saw a large plaque above the teaching building Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School. Zhang Cheng didn't come very early. There were already many students on campus, communicating with their peers with their elves. He got his first elf in the summer vacation. He was very excited to see his classmates at the beginning of the school. He introduced his elf and got to know each other's elves. After entering the school, Zhang Cheng first went to the registration office to register, and then put the clothes in a temporary storage point. According to his memory, he entered the teaching building and came to the door of class 3-5 of senior high school. He saw that half of the students had already come to the classroom. Yan also sat in his seat early and received a message from the class group. At 11 o'clock, the head teacher would come to hold a class meeting, so everyone was waiting in the classroom early. Zhang Cheng also came to his seat, and after a brief chat with Yan, he silently waited for the arrival of the head teacher. Nearing 11 o'clock, the head teacher also came to the classroom on time. The head teacher's name is Jin Haoksan. He is a tall and thin young man with a pair of white-framed glasses. He looks very gentle. He has been a teacher of cultural courses at Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School in recent years. "Students, I have a good news and a bad news to tell you today. Which one do you want to hear first?" The head teacher directly released the heavy news as soon as he met. "Of course, I want to hear the good news first," everyone said in unison. The good news is that there will be an internal competition between classes in the first 2 days of school. The top 5 students in each class will each receive a reward of 20,000 elf coins, and will be admitted to the elite class of the 3rd year of high school and receive key training. The students were very excited when they heard this. 20,000 elf coins is a considerable amount of money for them as high school students. Zhang Cheng, did you hear that? 20,000 elf coins, my god, the school is really generous this time, haha, Yan said happily. You look like you are determined to win, are you so sure? Zhang Cheng said puzzledly. This is really not my confidence, Yan whispered to Zhang Cheng. I am quite familiar with the situation of the class. Most of the students' elves are still at level 5 or 6, and there are no more than 5 of them who are capable. After hearing what Yan said, Zhang Cheng also had a simple understanding of the strength of the class in his heart. A class now has 40 people, and there is indeed a great probability of winning rewards. However, some students soon discovered something wrong. Teacher, do you mean that we are going to redivide the class soon? The speaker was Wu Yuyu, the class study committee member. After hearing this, the other female students also asked about the situation of the head teacher. After spending 2 years of high school with everyone had some feelings for the head teacher. Suddenly they were going to separate, and everyone was very depressed. Although the boys didn't say it, it can be seen from their expressions that everyone liked this head teacher very much. The calmest people in the class might be Yiyan and Zhang Cheng. The two of them had basically no emotional fluctuations. Zhang Cheng had not come into contact with his head teacher since he crossed over, so it was normal for him to have no feelings. But Yiyan was a bit heartless. After hearing the reward of 20,000 elf coins, he was directly in the eyes of money. Teacher, the bad news you just said is not that you are leaving us, Wu Yu, the study committee member, continued to ask. Yes, the head teacher said with a lost expression. Students, don't be too sad. There is no banquet that will never end. I am very happy to be with you for the past 2 years. Watching you grow step by step and become a trainer now, the teacher is very pleased. You are the teacher's pride. Hearing the fact that the head teacher said that he was leaving, the atmosphere of the whole class was very low. Don't be so depressed. The class teacher must hope that we can maintain a good state before we separate. We must cheer up and show our best side to the class teacher. Class monitor Hao Changgang took the lead in breaking the atmosphere at this time. The class monitor is right, everyone cheer up, and then I need to tell you the rules of the class competition, the class teacher said gently. The teacher has just told you the rewards for the top 5 in this class competition, and the students after the 5th place will be assigned to the corresponding class according to the ranking. If the subsequent class performs well, they can get the opportunity to challenge the elite class students, and if the challenge is successful, they can also enter the elite class to study. Teacher, when will the competition be held? Yiyan said excitedly. The other students rolled their eyes at Yukai. And they were still thinking about these things at this time. Yiyan also has social that thing syndrome. Facing the classmates' rolling eyes, he was also playful and smiling without any fluctuations. Zhang Cheng believes that Yiyan is more mature than his peers, which may also have something to do with his family. Zhang Cheng likes friends like Yiyan very much. After all, he was an office worker before he traveled through time. His mental age is much older than his classmates. Mature guys like Yiyan are more to his liking. Chapter 17 Class Division in Progress. The head teacher was not angry when he heard Yiyan's question, but said to Yiyan gently, the competition will be divided into 2 days. The preliminary round will be held this afternoon and the semi-final will be held tomorrow. After the competition, the school will divide the students into classes according to their scores. If you have any questions or doubts, you can ask me and I can answer them for you. Teacher Jin, what is the specific competition method of the competition? Let us know in advance so that we can prepare, class monitor Hao Changguang asked immediately. Faced with the questions of the students, the head teacher Jin Haoxin was very patient. Today's afternoon preliminary round, 40 students in the class will draw lots and play against each other. The winning 20 students will enter the semi-final on the second day, and the semi-final on the second day will be divided into 2 rounds. The first round of 20 to 10 will be held in the morning, and the final 10 to 5 will be held in the afternoon. The head teacher Jin Haoxin continued to add. And after the last 5 places are determined, the students who performed well in the previous competition can have the chance to challenge the top 5. If the challenge is successful, they can replace the other party's place. After understanding the rules of the game, Zhang Cheng thought that the school's competition was still very fair. Adding a challenge and defense session at the end can give students who were eliminated in the first 2 rounds because of bad luck and met 2 strong opponents a chance, so as to maximize the strength of the competition and minimize the luck. If the second-ranked student in the class is particularly unlucky to meet the first-ranked student in the first round, he will face direct elimination. Therefore, the competition rules arranged by the school are really reasonable, giving the talented players who were eliminated because of luck a chance. Only in the internal competition of the campus class can there be such a fair situation. The draw for the competition held outside can really determine many things. When the class teacher saw that the students had no other questions, he continued, if the students have no other questions, you can adjourn the meeting. You can gather at the school's elf training ground on time at 2 o'clock next time. After explaining everything, the class teacher also left the classroom. After the class teacher left, the classroom was also in an uproar, and everyone was discussing the competition in 2s and 3s. Zhang Cheng, I think it is stable for the 2 of us to qualify. Who do you think has the best chance of getting the remaining 3 places? Yiyan patted Zhang Cheng on the shoulder and asked. I don't know. I don't even know what their elves are, so how can I know who will qualify? Zhang Cheng said boringly. You are too boring. Don't you have any curiosity about the elves of other classmates in the class? I have been asking about this information recently, Yi Yan said depressedly. Looking at the gossiping yokai, Zhang Cheng said helplessly, I am not interested in these. As long as I improve my strength, I don't need to care about these things if I am strong enough. Okay, if you don't want to guess, let me analyze it for you, Yi Yan said with relish. I think the class monitor Hao Chengguang and the study committee member Wu Yuai were likely to enter the top 5. The remaining one depends on the luck of others. Oh, what do you mean? Seeing Yi Yan talking with relish, Zhang Cheng also became interested. As far as I know, the class monitor's elf is the only one of the 3 starter families in our class. His father works in the Alliance Center. His family is well off. His initial elf is a fire-type Wurmpig, Yi Yan explained. Having the 3 starter Pokémons does count as reserving a spot, so what Pokémon is the study committee member? Zhang Cheng continued to ask. The study committee member Wu Yui's is an Eevee, so cute. I heard that her Eevee is already level 8, 2 levels higher than the average Pokémon in the class, Yi Yan explained to Zhang Cheng. What level is the Wurmpig of the class monitor Hao Chengguang? Do you know? Zhang Cheng relatively wanted to know more about Wurmpig. After all, Eevee was not a big threat before it evolved. I don't know about that. I only know his initial Pokémon. I haven't seen him release his own Pokémon, so I can't confirm the level, Yi Yan said helplessly. According to the current situation of the Pokémons in the class, Zhang Cheng and Yi Yan basically have no problem entering the top 5. The Pokémon levels of the 2 have surpassed the Pokémons of other classmates in the class by a large margin, and they are not under any pressure for the upcoming class division competition. After understanding the situation of the classmates in the class, Zhang Cheng also went to the cafeteria of number 1 middle school with Yi Yan to have lunch. Zhang Cheng, who was used to eating his mother's cooking, was still a little uncomfortable with the food on the cafeteria. He had no choice but to adapt to it more often. He got used to it after a few meals. After dinner, there was nowhere to go, so Zhang Cheng and Yi Yan went directly to the elf training ground. The scale of the training ground of Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School was similar to the Nanting training ground that Zhang Cheng had visited before. The fact that a school could build a large training ground specifically for it showed the importance of elf training. The battlefield for each class had been marked in advance in the training ground. Zhang Cheng quickly found the battlefield for his class according to the instructions, and came to one side of the field and waited quietly with Yi Yan for the start of the game. More and more students came to the training ground, and the class battle was about to start. However, these venues were separated, and there was no way to check the situation of other classes at present. Zhang Cheng, Yi Yan, why are you here so early? After arriving at the training ground, the class monitor Hao Chengguang took the initiative to walk towards Zhang Cheng and the others and said, I came here early because I had nothing to do after dinner. What's the matter, class monitor? Zhang Cheng said casually. Haha, from what you said, isn't it normal for classmates to care about each other? After entering the elite class, everyone should care about each other. After all, you need to adapt to a new environment. More friends mean more ways, Hao Chengguang said with a smile. Oh? It seems that you are very confident that we can all enter the elite class, Zhang Cheng said lightly. Of course I am very optimistic about you. You are in the top 5 in the class, so there is no pressure. I won't say much. You should prepare well. See you in the elite class. After speaking, Hao Chengguang walked away. This Hao Chengguang is quite capable. He actually found out our situation in advance. I don't know where he learned about our elves. Yi Yan was puzzled. His family should work in the Alliance Center. There are data records in the Alliance Center. If his family has connections, it is not surprising to find out these, Zhang Cheng explained. Since he has no ill intentions, it is a natural good thing to make more friends. There may be times when he needs help in the future. For now, let's focus on the game first, Yi Yan also shrugged and said. Chapter 18 Preliminary Round. As the competition time approached, all the students and the class teacher had arrived at the battle site. Students, this afternoon we are having the preliminary round. 40 students will draw lots to compete, and 20 will be selected to enter tomorrow's semifinals. Now everyone come to my side to draw lots to confirm the opponent, class teacher Jin Haoxin said while holding a lottery box. The draw is marked with letters, and each letter has 2 lots. Those who draw the same letter will compete. Zhang Cheng drew the letter F, and Yi Yan drew the letter C. After the draw, the class teacher confirmed everyone's preliminary opponent. Zhang Cheng played against a classmate named Li Peng, whose initial Pokémon was a Sandshrew. Yiyan played against a girl using a trumpet but Butterfree's flying and insect attributes both restrain the grass type, so I think this girl will be eliminated directly. After the draw, the battle will be carried out in alphabetical order. First, the two students who drew A will enter the training ground to fight. The two elves were the level 5 Zubat and the level 6 Walking Grass. Zhang Cheng used the system to scan the data of the two elves. They were both A-level qualifications, very ordinary elves. The two elves currently had very few skills, and the battle was very monotonous. In the end, Zubat won the game and entered the semifinals. Zhang Cheng had no interest in the next game. He directly opened his mobile phone and started to read the knowledge related to elves. After all, the exam also included the cultural course scores. It was better to remember a little. Although he had previously understood the knowledge of elves, there were still some less popular knowledge points that he might not know. In the subsequent games, Yiyan also won easily. Butterfree relied on the dual suppression of level and attributes, and the trumpet sprout was directly killed. It was not until the class teacher called the F sign to fight that Zhang Cheng silently put down his mobile phone and walked to the battlefield. After both sides came on stage, the class teacher confirmed that there was no problem and directly announced the start of the game. Li Peng's face was not good. In class, he had heard some information about Zhang Cheng. He met a strong enemy in the first round, and there was a high probability that he would be eliminated directly. But you can't just surrender, that would be too embarrassing. Thinking of this, Li Peng gritted his teeth and threw his Pokeball. Come out, Sandshrew. Mosquito, it's your turn. Both sides released their Pokémons, and the battle was about to start. Zhang Cheng also directly turned on the system to scan the various data of Sandshrew. Although he had an absolute advantage, it was better to be cautious. After all, it is better to be safe than sorry. Name, Sandshrew, level 6, gender, male qualification, D attribute, ground carrying props, none basic skills, grab, turn round, throw sand, poison needle. Inherited skills, none characteristics, sand hiding, dodge rate increases by 20% in sandstorm weather, and will not be affected by the loss of health in sandstorm weather. Notes, Sandshrew, a mouse Pokémon, digs caves on the ground to build nests. As long as it senses danger, it will curl up to protect itself. This Sandshrew does not have any inherited skills, but it still has a lot of basic skills. You need to pay attention to the poison needle skill. If you are poisoned, it will be troublesome. Mosquito Tadpole, we go first. Use the foam beam attack. Mosquito Tadpole heard the order and immediately began to condense foam, and a beam of blue-white light composed of foam shot directly at the Sandshrew. Sandshrew, dodge quickly. Use the sand throwing skill to counterattack. The Sandshrew retreated to the back to avoid the foam beam, while throwing sand to reduce the hit rate of the Mosquito Tadpole skills. However, the skills of the Mosquito Tadpole are not so easy to dodge. The Sandshrew was directly hit by the foam beam on the way back. The double damage of the attribute restraint hit the Sandshrew, and it directly lost most of its health. Sandshrew, can you still fight? Li Peng asked worriedly. Kuga the Sandshrew nodded to the trainer to show that he was fine. Good job Sandshrew, adjust your state and we will use the poison needle attack. Kuga a large number of purple poison needles were emitted from the Sandshrew's mouth and flew directly to the Mosquito Tadpole. Mosquito, use the water gun to end the game. Hearing the trainer's order, Mosquito also used the highly skilled water gun directly. The water gun directly hit the Sandshrew, and at the same time, the flying poison needle also hit the Mosquito. The Sandshrew lost its ability to fight, and Zhang Cheng won and entered the semifinals. As the voice of the class teacher Jin Haoxin came, Zhang Cheng won. However, the state of Mosquito did not seem to be very good. Zhang Cheng found that the poison needle just now caused a slight poisoning effect on the Mosquito. Zhang Cheng felt that his luck was also very bad. The poison needle had only a 30% chance of triggering poisoning, but he didn't expect it to be triggered successfully in one go. Zhang Cheng directly took out the peach fruit he had obtained after completing the task in Shenim Orchard, fed it to the Mosquito after eating one, and the toxin slowly faded away. After about 10 minutes, the Mosquito returned to normal. There are two reasons why Zhang Cheng did not choose to let the Mosquito Coil Tadpole avoid the poison needle before attacking. First, because the attack speed of the poison needle is fast and difficult to avoid, and second, because Zhang Cheng has peach fruit in his hand and is not particularly afraid of being poisoned. so he directly let the Mosquito coil tadpole take the poison needle attack, and then the Sandshrew released the poison needle and directly eliminated the opponent. After the game, Zhang Cheng had no intention of leaving. Although Zhang Cheng had no interest in the next game, Zhang Cheng wanted to wait for Hao Chengguang to play to see the information of his Wurmpig. Know the opponent's elves in advance, and there is room for a response if you meet in the subsequent rematch. Class monitor Hao Chengguang drew OK lottery, and he still needs to wait for 2 games. When Zhang Cheng was bored and brushed the elf knowledge for a while, it was finally Hao Chengguang's turn to play. Under the auspices of the class teacher, the game began, and both sides released their elves. The elf fighting against Hao Chengguang was a stupid fire camel, which is relatively rare in Jiangcheng. And Hao Chengguang undoubtedly used his signature 3-family elf Wurmpig. Seeing Nuanunpig appear, Zhang Cheng directly opened the system to check, and various data of Nuanunpig appeared in his mind. Name, Nuanunpig, level 9, gender, male qualification. C+ attribute, fire carrot props, none basic skills, impact, wagging tail, sparks, smell detection genetic skills, mountation feature, thick fat, because it is protected by thick fat, the power of fire and ice attribute moves will be halved. Note, Nuanunpig, a fire pig Pokémon, can blow out flames from its nose, but when it feels bad, it can only blow out black smoke. Chapter 19 Watching the game. By checking the data of this Wurmpig, Zhang Cheng got a lot of useful information from it. In particular, it is worth noting that the Tation pressure skill inherited by the Wurmpig is one of the most powerful skills in the early stage of the elves. Secondly, it is necessary to note that the characteristic of the Wurmpig is not fierce fire, but the hidden characteristic thick fat. Using fire and ice skills against the Wurmpig with thick fat is basically equivalent to ineffective. The fire attribute of the Wurmpig itself has a resistance effect on the fire and ice attributes, and the thick fat reduces the damage by 50%. Using fire and ice skills to attack this Wurmpig is equivalent to tickling. However, from Zhang Cheng's personal point of view, the Wurmpig with thick fat is not as good as the fierce fire attribute. Because the Wurmpig itself has a resistance effect on the fire and ice attributes, the thick fat is just a icing on the cake. The fierce fire attribute can be effective against elves of any attribute, and the effect surface is wider than that of thick fat. Judging from the current game, the opponent's fire camel can basically be regarded as useless. The fire camel with only fire attribute has no chance of winning against the thick fat attribute Wurmpig. Zhang Cheng opened the system again to check the information of this fire camel. If there are no special skills, then this game will definitely be lost. Name, fire camel, level 7, gender, male qualification, D attribute, fire carrot props, none basic skills, impact, cry, sparks, gathering key inherited skills, mud bomb characteristics, inertness. Pokémon with this characteristic will not fall into the provocation and fascination state. Notes, fire camel, a dull Pokémon, accumulates hot lava on its back, has the power to move 100 kilograms of cargo, and has been helping humans work for a long time. This fire camel actually inherited a ground-based skill, and this battle instantly became interesting. If the fire camel only has fire-based skills, there is no chance of winning, but if the fire camel masters the ground-based mud bomb, then there is some chance. Ground skills have double damage to fire spirits, so it depends on the performance of this stupid fire camel. The spirits of both sides quickly started fighting. The stupid fire camel first tried to use sparks to attack, but it could not cause an effective blow. Hao Chengguang's Wurmpig has also been using sparks to attack, and the Wurmpig, which obviously has a level advantage, has the upper hand. The stupid fire camel does not have the thick fat characteristic, and was seriously injured by the spark attack of the Wurmpig. According to Zhang Cheng's judgment, the Wurmpig has probably learned the genetic skill of Tation Yading, and now it has not been used because it wants to keep it for a surprise effect in the semifinals. However, Hao Chengguang's plan may fail. When the spark attack fell into disadvantage, this stupid fire camel directly launched the mud bomb skill. This mud bomb skill also surprised the students watching the battle around. Obviously, they did not expect that the fire-attributed stupid fire camel would have such a high damage ground skill. Facing the sudden attack launched by the stupid fire camel, the Wurmpig was also unable to dodge, and directly ate a mud bomb, and his health value dropped to nearly half. Hao Chengguang obviously did not expect this to happen. After seeing Nuanunpig injured, he was in hesitation. He was thinking whether to use Nuanunpig's killer move, Tation Yading, But the opposite side's Dihole Camel would not give him a chance to hesitate, and then another mud bomb was sent out. Nguyen Pig uses Taishan Yading. Hao Changgang had no time to think. In order to ensure that he could enter the semifinals, he directly chose to use Taishan Yading. Both sides' skills hit each other at the same time. Dihole Camel had been attacked by many sparks before, and his health was over half. Now he was directly defeated by a high-damage Taishan Yading and lost his combat ability. Nguyen Pig was also hit by a mud bomb again, and was seriously injured, but he had not lost his combat ability. Hao Changgang won this game and advanced to the semifinals. This Dihole Camel could enter the semifinals according to his strength, but unfortunately he met Hao Changgang and was directly eliminated. However, after the semifinals tomorrow, he should have a chance to obtain a challenge qualification. It depends on whether he can grasp it at that time. After watching Hao Changgang's game, Zhang Cheng also planned to leave. He was not very interested in the following games. As for Yu Tian, he was very keen on watching the game. Even if it was a fight between two noobs, he was still enjoying it. Zhang Cheng simply let Yu Tian concentrate on watching the game, and left the training ground without disturbing Yu Tian. Through the temporary dormitory area posted by the class teacher in the class group, Zhang Cheng came to the temporary storage point, took his clothes to the temporary dormitory area, found the bed, simply packed up, and laid down to rest. After the division of classes tomorrow, the dormitory will be reassigned. It is said that every year, the senior high school students will go to a simulated ecological training ground for closed training. The dormitory of the elite class is a single room, and the treatment is much better than that of the ordinary class. The school also uses these reward systems to stimulate students' ambition and strive to cultivate more outstanding trainers every year. However, these are not the issues that Zhang Cheng should care about. His current idea is to become stronger as soon as possible and obtain more resources to enter a better university. How can I not live a more exciting life after crossing into this elf world? If I still do nothing after crossing over, what is the point? At the same time, he also wanted to know the specific reason why his father left. Zhang Cheng had a hunch that his father must not have died. There must be a lot of involvement behind this. When he becomes stronger, he must figure it out. However, these are long-term things. The current plan is to pass tomorrow's rematch and get a place in the elite class. Later, Zhang Cheng planned to go out to the Magnolia Forest for training, but he could only wait until the closed management ended, which was probably until the winter vacation. Fighting against these new trainers at school, Zhang Cheng felt that the improvement was not great. Only by entering the wild and fighting against wild Pokémon and facing a more dangerous environment can the potential of Pokémon be stimulated. After resting for an hour, the preliminary round of the class was also over. After Zhang Cheng found Yi Yan, the two went to have dinner together. After dinner, Yi Yan took Zhang Cheng to the school's training ground for battle practice. The school's training ground can be entered at will for battle practice during free time, and no fees are charged. Facing Yi Yan's idea of fighting, Zhang Cheng had no objection, so he asked Mosquito Repellent to fight against Yi Yan's Butterfree. Since there is a competition tomorrow, the two only let the elves have a simple competition, just enough to ensure that the elves are in good condition for tomorrow's rematch. After the battle, Zhang Cheng took out food to feed the mosquito coil tadpole and Bobo, and after they finished eating, he rewarded the two little ones with an energy cube each. After all, tomorrow they still have to rely on them to bring good results to themselves, so of course they can't treat these two little guys badly. Chapter 20, Rematch. The next morning, Zhang Cheng started a new day with the sound of the alarm. After a simple wash, Zhang Cheng also found Yu Tian. The two had breakfast together and then walked to the class training ground. Many students came to the battle site early. Although half of the students had been eliminated, this did not prevent them from continuing to watch the exciting game and understand the situation of other students' elves. After waiting for a while, the head teacher Jin Haoxin came to the battle site. The draw was the same as yesterday. The difference from yesterday was that today's draw was changed to a digital sign, consisting of 1-20. Students who drew two adjacent numbers would fight. Zhang Cheng unexpectedly drew number 1 this time, and Yukai was number 7. The first battle was played by Zhang Cheng. The opponent's elf was a level 5 walking grass. Zhang Cheng directly sent out his own Bobo to fight. When seeing Zhang Cheng send out Bobo, many students shouted in surprise. They didn't expect that someone in the class had already captured the second elf. Most of the new trainers were still busy understanding and training their first Pokémon during the summer vacation, and they didn't have much energy to capture other Pokémon. Pidgeot restrained the walking grass in terms of attributes and was much higher in level, so he easily won. After the battle, Pidgeot also rose to level 7. The next opponent Yeon Myth was a trainer who used a small fist stone. Through the suppression of the level, Yeon also easily won. The places for the second stage of the semifinals in the afternoon were soon confirmed. The class leader Zhang Cheng and the study committee member Wu Yui both advanced smoothly. It was indeed as Yeon said. Through the observation of the past 2 days, the 4 of them were the ones with higher Pokémon levels and more strength in Class 5. If there is no accident, the top 4 of the 5 have been determined. After a simple lunch, Zhang Cheng still came to the battle side and waited silently for the afternoon game to start. In the afternoon, the battle was also conducted by drawing lots, and this time the battle was also conducted in the form of digital lottery. It was a coincidence that Yeon, Zhang Cheng, Zhang Cheng and Wu Yui happened to be drawn into different groups. Zhang Cheng originally thought that there might be a tough battle in the afternoon, but he didn't expect to avoid it perfectly. In this way, entering the top 5 is basically a piece of cake. In the afternoon game, Zhang Cheng met an opponent Elf, which has reached level 7. Compared with the elves of other students, it is indeed much higher. It is expected that he can enter the second round of the semifinals. Compared with the opponents in the first 2 rounds, it is slightly stronger, but it did not cause too much trouble to Zhang Cheng. He sent out the Mosquito repellent tadpole to defeat the opponent's tail after several rounds of fighting. At the same time, the Mosquito repellent tadpole also successfully upgraded to level 10. Successfully entering the top 5 can get a reward of 20,000 elf coins. Zhang Cheng is quite satisfied with this reward. What he lacks most now is elf coins. At present, Zhang Cheng has 40,000 elf coins in his hand, plus the 20,000 reward from the school this time, a total of 60,000 elf coins. Zhang Cheng plans to buy a learning skill for the Mosquito repellent tadpole. The Mosquito repellent tadpole currently has few attack skills. Zhang Cheng plans to choose a suitable learning skill for the Mosquito repellent tadpole. In the following time, Zhang Cheng waited in the viewing area for the remaining few matches to end. He could not leave early now. There would be a challenge session after the match. However, it was highly likely that no one would challenge him. Judging from the current situation, no one would challenge Yeon, the study committee member, and the class monitor. The only one who would be challenged should be the lucky one who got the last place. Soon the result of the battle came out. As Zhang Cheng and Yeon had predicted before, in addition to the 2 of them, the study committee member and the class monitor got the quota. The last place left was taken by a trainer who used arm strength. In the subsequent challenge session, the Dumbfire Camel trainer who had been defeated by Zhang Cheng chose to challenge the arm strength. The final result was still regrettable and ended in failure. After the recent 2 days of fighting, this arm strength broke through to level 8, and finally barely defeated the Dumbfire Camel and secured the last place in the elite class. At this point, the entire class battle has ended. After confirming the quota, the head teacher Jin Haeoksan also submitted the list directly. Classmates, your performances over the past 2 days have been very wonderful. You must work hard in the new class and new environment in the future. The teacher is very optimistic about you, Jin Haeoksan said excitedly to the classmates in the class. The classmates were still immersed in the game, and suddenly heard the voice of the head teacher, and they became lost. They knew it was time to say goodbye to the head teacher. The female classmates went up to the head teacher one after another to hug and say goodbye, and the head teacher kept comforting them. After everyone's mood was better, the head teacher came to the 5 students who were promoted to the elite class, told them how to receive the reward, and then said some encouraging words and left the training ground. The 20,000 elf coins reward for winning the game can be directly registered at the school's financial department and presented with student identity certificates. As soon as the head teacher left, Yeon couldn't wait to pull Zhang Cheng to the school's financial department, and after registering the information, he took away the 20,000 elf coins reward. This time the school is really generous. The competition within the class directly rewards 20,000 elf coins. I hope there will be more good things like this in the future, Yeon said excitedly. Zhang Cheng rolled his eyes and said, do you think the school is stupid? How could they give out elf coins for no reason? Only a small number of people can get the rewarded elf coins. Maybe I am one of those few people, haha, Yeon said arrogantly. Zhang Cheng was too lazy to pay attention to this guy every time at this time, and walked directly out of the school. Hey, where are you going? Are you planning to celebrate your reward? Yi Yan looked at Zhang Cheng walking out of the school and said hurriedly. Celebrate, you head. I plan to go out to buy a skill learning machine to increase the combat effectiveness of the mosquito coil tadpole, Zhang Cheng said as he walked. This is a good idea. I happen to have this plan too. Let's go and take a look together. My Butterfree has no inherited skills, and I am considering buying a skill learning machine. Yi Yan trotted to Zhang Cheng and said. Okay, then let's go and take a look together. I don't know the price of the skill learning machine yet. If it's too expensive, forget it, Zhang Cheng said helplessly. Oh, don't worry about these for now. Let's go to the skill store first. We will be under closed management tomorrow, so take this opportunity to go out and have a good time, Yi Yan said as he pushed Zhang Cheng forward. Chapter 21 Skill Learning Machine. There is a elf skills store just opposite Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School. Zhang Cheng and Yi Yan can find the store directly when they go out, which saves a lot of time. The two came to the store. Compared with the Elf Alliance and the Breeding House, the Elf Skills store is much worse in terms of space and interior decoration. After all, it is just a private store, and of course it cannot be compared with the official alliance. As soon as they entered the store, a shopping guide came to ask if they had any needs. The two told the shopping guide the names of the elves of the skill learning machines they needed. The shopping guide first took Yi Yan to the skill area of Bardalio. According to Zhang Cheng's understanding, Bardalio can master more than 30 skills through the skill learning machine, which is considered to be an elf with a very wide range of skills. Including explosive skills such as destructive rays and solar beams, Bardalio can learn. However, ordinary stores here are definitely not available. High-quality skill learning machines are generally only available in the Alliance Center in the official breeding house. And the price of that kind of skill is at least 1 million yuan. At present, Zhang Cheng and Yi Yan can only think about it. And a very important point is that it is not certain that the elves can learn it with a skill learning machine. Even with a skill learning machine, some difficult skills may take a long time for the elves to learn, and even the elves with poor qualifications cannot learn them at all. There are currently 10 skill learning machines for Butterfree in our store, namely, Shadow Clone, Hold, Sleep, Swallow Return, Thief, Mysterious Guardian, Rapid Return, Dream Talk, and Persistent Fight. The shopping guide also displayed all the skill learning machines that Butterfree can learn in the store for Yi Yan to choose. Zhang Cheng looked at the prices of these skills, which were generally between 40,000 and 100,000 elf coins, which were considered to be some of the more popular skill learning machines. The main customers of this store are also students from Zhang Cheng No. 1 Middle School. Most people do not have the financial strength to sell high-priced skill learning machines. Yi Yan prefers to choose some skills with special effects. At present, his Butterfree already has insect and flying attack skills. After some choices, Yi Yan chose the Hold skill learning machine. Hold is a relatively all-purpose skill learning machine, and most elves can master this skill. The main reason why Yi Yan chose to hold on was that he thought that Butterfree's body was too fragile and it would be difficult to support if it encountered a high damage skill. Secondly, the price of holding on was relatively affordable. It could be bought at the price of 31,000 elf coins. Purchasing the holding skill was indeed a good choice. After Yi Yan chose the skill learning machine, the shopping guide took the two of them to the skill learning machine area of mosquito repellent tadpoles again. The shopping guide also first introduced the skills that all mosquito repellent tadpoles can learn in the store. Currently, there are 6 skill learning machines that can be used for mosquito repellent tadpoles to learn in the store, namely, Shadow Clone, Hold, Dream Talk, Bluff, Thief, Hot Water. At present, the skills that mosquito repellent tadpoles can learn are actually relatively small. After evolving into mosquito repellent frog, they can master a lot of ground-based skills through the learning machine. But now there are only some high-damage water attribute skills and some skills that are common to most elves that can be learned. Zhang Cheng's first choice must be Hot Water, but the price of this skill is as high as 75,000 elf coins. After seeing the price, he decisively gave up this idea. If you choose from the remaining skills, the skill of holding is indeed a panacea, but Zhang Cheng still wants to let Mosquito Tadpole master some damaging skills to create a wider range of attribute attacks. When he was hesitant and considering whether to choose to hold, Zhang Cheng suddenly thought of a skill that suits him very well. It is not suitable for Mosquito Tadpole but for himself, that is, the Thief skill. In this elf world, each elf can carry a prop to fight, and this prop cannot be directly discovered by the naked eye. Because the props of the elves are all energy substances, the props have a specific appearance, but if you want to use the effects of the props on the elves, it is not just a simple wearing on the elves. To carry props for the elves, you need to let the elves absorb the energy of the props and let the props and the elves merge together. When you need to take out the props, you only need to control the elves to discharge the props' energy from the body. The effect of the thief skill is that you can get the opponent's props while causing damage to the enemy elves, but it is invalid when you carry props on yourself. However, this skill may not be very useful for ordinary trainers, because it is difficult to find the props carried by the opponent during the battle. When you know the props carried by the opponent, it is usually the critical moment of the battle. At this time, it is too late to use the thief. Zhang Cheng can directly see the props carried by the opponent's elves because of his golden finger. Zhang Cheng can use the system to confirm whether the opponent carries props before the battle, and directly use the thief skill after confirming that the opponent carries props, so that the advantage of the opponent's props disappears. Thinking of this, Zhang Cheng bought the thief skill without hesitation. The effect of the thief skill is not very big. It is very uneconomical to use this skill when there is no way to confirm whether the props are carried, Yi Yan said puzzledly after seeing Zhang Cheng's choice. I think I should be the Emperor of Europe. I will bet whether the opponent has props on him and open the blind box method, Zhang Cheng said jokingly. Is there such an operation? It's up to you. Everyone has a different style, Yi Yan said in surprise. After confirming the purchase of skills, the shopping guide took Zhang Cheng and Yi Yan to check out together. The store gave them a preferential price, and deducted the decimals considering that they were buying together. In the end, Zhang Cheng spent 40,000 elf coins to buy the thief skill learning machine, and Yi Yan spent 30,000 elf coins to buy the guarding skill learning machine. Zhang Cheng currently has 20,000 elf coins in his hand. After purchasing the skill learning machine, Zhang Cheng and Yi Yan came to the elf food store and bought the food needed by their respective elves. This time Zhang Cheng spent another 10,000 elf coins, and now his savings have bottomed out. Yi Yan only bought food worth 5,000 elf coins. At present, there is only one elf, Butterfree, so there is really no need to buy too much elf food. After spending money, the two found a restaurant to have a hearty dinner and then hurried back to school. After a busy day, the two planned to have a good rest. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Mentor. After returning to school, I went to the temporary dormitory to rest. The situation after the class division will be announced tomorrow morning, and everyone will be assigned to different classes. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Cheng first released Mosquito repellent Tadpole and Babo, and fed them elf food. After eating, he gave the two little ones a simple massage, and then began to rest and sleep. There was no talk all night. The next day, Zhang Cheng slept until almost noon before getting up. After getting up, he looked through the information on his mobile phone and found that the new class division had been announced. There are a total of 8 classes in this year's senior year. The top 5 students in each class are selected, and a total of 40 people form an elite class. Zhang Cheng thought that the 40 people who advanced would form an elite class, but when he saw the class division, there were 2 elite classes. There are only 20 people in an elite class, and the class has professional tutors to provide guidance. It is worthy of being Zhang Cheng number 1 middle school. The elite class is actually divided into 20 people, which is generally better than the 40 people in the ordinary class. After understanding these situations, Zhang Cheng also began to check the class division. Zhang Cheng first saw that he was assigned to the elite class 1. Following the list, Zhang Cheng began to check Yi Yan's name, but he did not find Yi Yan in class 1. Yi Yan was assigned to class 2, while Wu Yuyu, the former class monitor, was assigned to his class. Hao Chengguang and another promoted classmate were assigned to class 2 with Yi Yan. At the same time, Zhang Cheng also saw an uninvited guest on the list of elite class 2 Yi Lang, the schoolmate who had lost to him at the Nanting training ground before. It seems that there will definitely be some stories between the two in the future, but Zhang Cheng doesn't care. He will stop the enemy and cover the water with earth. Zhang Cheng was a little disappointed that he was not assigned to the same class with Yi Yan. After all, he only had a good relationship with Yi Yan in the first middle school, and he thought he could not play with others. After confirming the class, Zhang Cheng also began to pack up and prepare to go to the closed training ground, which will be their long-term residence for the next few months. The closed training ground is at the easternmost part of Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School, and the entire closed training ground occupies nearly half of the school's area. After entering the closed training ground, the first thing that caught my eye was a patchwork of towering trees, and next to the towering trees was a circular training battlefield. Going further inside were 2 dormitory buildings, and next to the dormitory buildings were teaching buildings, canteens, and an elf treatment center and elf shop. Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School had obviously invested heavily in this closed training ground, and all the facilities were complete, providing students with a perfect training environment. Since Zhang Cheng got up late, Yi Yan had already gone to his class early, so Zhang Cheng now came to the training ground alone. First, find your corresponding dormitory. The dormitories in the elite class are all single rooms, which gives Zhang Cheng a very good experience. The dormitories in the ordinary class are all 4-person rooms, which are relatively smaller in space. After simply packing up his clothes in bed, Zhang Cheng also contacted Yi Yan through his mobile phone, and the two met in the cafeteria. "You are too lazy. I couldn't find you in the morning, so I had to come here by myself. I didn't expect that we were not assigned to the same class. It feels a pity." Yi Yan came up and chattered a lot. "I was too tired yesterday. I slept till it was dark and just woke up," Zhang Cheng said helplessly. "There is no way. The class division is random. Anyway, the training is not far away. We can still practice together when we have time. Practice is a must. There will definitely be a battle between our 2 classes in the future. I will not show mercy when the time comes, haha," Yi Yan said with a smile. "I heard that each class will be assigned a mentor to guide us in the Pokemon battle learning. Have you seen the mentor of your class?" Zhang Cheng asked casually. "I came early in the morning and happened to see the mentor of our second class. He is a middle-aged man. I heard that he is a gym leader level trainer," Yi Yan said excitedly. Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School actually invited a gym leader level trainer to be a mentor. They really worked hard for the results of this class of students, Zhang Cheng sighed. "You know, the cost of hiring a gym leader level trainer must be very terrifying, not to mention recruiting a gym leader level trainer to be a mentor for a year. What about you, Zhang Cheng? Have you met your instructor? I heard that your instructor is a beautiful lady," Yi Yan said with a grin. "I haven't seen her. How strong is this instructor? Why do you focus on different things from others?" "I envy your class," Yi Yan said with envy. "The instructor of your class is not only a beautiful lady but also very strong. I heard that she is a top student who graduated from Magic City University and is also a gym leader level trainer." Zhang Cheng was also stunned when he heard the explosive news from Yi Yan. "How could a graduate of Magic City University come to be our instructor?" Zhang Cheng said puzzledly. "That's not clear. Many people speculate that she may come here to gain experience and work part-time. I don't know the details," Yi Yan scratched his head and said. "Magic City University is one of the top 8 famous universities in China. Every student from the 8 famous universities is a brilliant person. The 8 famous elf universities in China are Kyoto University, Magic City University, Tsinghua University, Sakura University, Jinling University, Jiangtong University, Guangdong University, and Jianghu University. Zhang Cheng's Jiangcheng has the famous Yingda University, which is also Zhang Cheng's ideal university. After all, everyone has feelings for the place where they grew up, and Zhang Cheng is no exception." It was really surprising to hear Yi Yan say that this instructor came from Moto University. The school was able to invite such a mentor to guide the elite class. Jiangcheng No. 1 Middle School's performance this year should be much better than in previous years. The two chatted about things before the class division while eating, and after lunch, they also dispersed. In the afternoon, the instructors of each class will organize students to hold class meetings, and Zhang Cheng also went directly to the class where the elite class was located. "The reason why I came so early was, of course, because after hearing what Yi Yan said, I also became curious about the instructor in my class and wanted to see the instructor's style. But unfortunately, the instructor was not on the classroom, and I came a little too early." Seeing that the instructor had not arrived, Zhang Cheng also found an empty seat to sit down and lay on the table for a simple lunch break. Zhang Cheng was half asleep when he suddenly heard a loud noise in the classroom. He looked up and saw that it was just as Zhang Cheng expected. The beautiful teacher must have calmed to hear such a noise. Chapter 23 First Meeting with Bai Yuling. There was a girl with milky white hair standing in the middle of the podium. Zhang Cheng looked at her cheek and was deeply amazed in an instant. A delicate oval face, curved willow leaf eyebrows, big eyes, a high nose bridge, and a cherry mouth. The whole person seemed to have walked out of the second dimension. The other students in the class were shocked and speechless after seeing this girl, and the classroom suddenly became quiet. A gentle voice came, "Hello, students, I am the tutor of your Senior 3 Elite Class 1. Let me introduce myself. My name is Bai Yuling." After speaking, Bai Yuling picked up the chalk, turned around and wrote her name on the blackboard. "In the next year, I will guide you in the elf training. You can call me Sister Lingling. Please give me more guidance in the next year," Bai Yuling said playfully. Zhang Cheng looked around and found that most of the boys in the class blushed and lowered their heads, not daring to look at their beautiful tutor. Bai Yuling was also attracted by Zhang Cheng's behavior. The other boys all lowered their heads, but this little brother dared to look directly at her. Zhang Cheng is no longer the little boy he was back then. With rich social experience and the identity of a time traveler, Zhang Cheng is very confident. "Next, students, please introduce yourself one by one, so that the teacher can have an understanding of the students," Bai Yuling said jokingly. "Let's start with the boy in the last row. Is it convenient for you to make a simple self-introduction?" Bai Yuling was talking about Zhang Cheng. Since Zhang Cheng's behavior just now had aroused her curiosity, she wanted to know if this little brother was really so calm. Zhang Cheng was also stunned when he heard Bai Yuling's words. He didn't expect that he would find him so soon, but Zhang Cheng just felt a little surprised. Then he stood up and introduced himself generously. "Hello everyone, my name is Zhang Cheng, a local from Jiangcheng, and my initial elf is a mosquito coil tadpole. Please give me more advice in the future." Zhang Cheng generously introduced himself briefly, and then sat down directly. The classmates applauded one after another. It is really admirable that he could introduce himself so calmly under such circumstances. "Student Zhang Cheng is very good. The teacher recommends you to be the monitor of our class. What do you think?" Bai Yuling said with a smile. Zhang Cheng touched his nose and said helplessly, "I have no problem, but I think I still need to consult other students." Zhang Cheng didn't want to be the monitor not because he was embarrassed to contact Bai Yuling, but because he didn't like to take care of these trivial matters. He would not be so comfortable after being the monitor. "Then what do you think of Zhang Cheng as the monitor?" Bai Yuling said to the other students. The boys kept silent, and only a few girls said, "No problem, teacher. Since everyone has no objection, then Zhang Cheng will be the monitor of our class in the future. Next, everyone should make a simple self-introduction in order from the front to the back." After confirming the monitor, Bai Yuling finally let herself go and began to let other students introduce themselves. The male students basically hesitated and sat down shyly without saying a few words. The female students were relatively better and could all introduce themselves smoothly. After introducing herself, Bai Yuling continued to talk about the arrangement of the subsequent courses. "From tomorrow we will start closed learning and training. Sundays are rest days. Everyone can move freely, but they cannot leave the school too far. Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays are theoretical knowledge classes. The teacher will explain some more profound elf knowledge. Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays are practical teaching classes. The teacher will guide everyone's elves to train and simulate battles." Bai Yuling explained the arrangement of learning in one breath, and then asked the students, "If you have any questions, you can ask them now. The teacher can answer them one by one." Seeing that no one had any questions to ask, Bai Yuling ended the class meeting and reminded everyone to remember to be prepared for class starting tomorrow. After saying that, Bai Yuling left the classroom. Before leaving, she continued to look at Zhang Cheng, but Zhang Cheng did not notice. Because Zhang Cheng is now worried about the class monitor's affairs, and he will be busy in the future. After thinking for a while, Zhang Cheng became more and more annoyed, so he simply stopped thinking about it and got up and left the classroom. When people are upset, they want to relax. At this time, Zhang Cheng was walking around in this closed training ground. He will live here for the next 6 months, so he took this opportunity to get to know the environment here. After walking around for an afternoon, Zhang Cheng felt much better. He happened to meet Yuan downstairs in the teaching building, and the two went to the cafeteria to have dinner together. "How is it? Did you meet your class tutor? Isn't she beautiful?" Yuan patted Zhang Cheng on the shoulder and said. Zhang Cheng rolled his eyes and said, I met her. I was given special care as soon as I met her. I was directly made the class monitor. You are awesome. You got the attention of the beautiful tutor as soon as you met her. How did you do it? Give me some pointers, Yi Tian flattered. Teach you a lesson. I didn't do anything and they asked me to introduce myself and put the class monitor on me, Zhang Cheng sighed, covering his forehead. Okay, let's not talk about this. Let's see what to eat tonight. Seeing that Zhang Cheng didn't want to talk about this, Yi Tian changed the subject. Okay, eating is the most important thing, Zhang Cheng said and walked towards the cafeteria window. After the meal was served, the two chose a seat with an angle, and chatted while eating. Yi Tian, have you used the skill learning machine you bought yesterday on Butterfree? How do you feel about the effect? Zhang Cheng asked Yi Tian about the skill learning machine. I bought it and put it aside but haven't used it yet. I have been in the classroom all day, so I don't have time to operate it, Yi Tian said depressedly. I plan to try the effect of the skill learning machine tonight. Do you want to join us? Zhang Cheng asked Yi Tian. Okay, I have never used this thing before. Let's try it together later. Yi Tian was instantly excited when he heard Zhang Cheng say to use the skill learning machine. Skill learning machines are disposable consumables. Each skill learning machine can only work on one elf. After the elf absorbs the energy of the skill learning machine, the disk of the skill learning machine will be damaged. However, the skill learning machine cannot guarantee that the elf can master this skill. Whether it can be mastered depends on the elf's qualifications and efforts. Chapter 24 Learning Skills. After dinner, Zhang Cheng and Yi Tian brought the skill learning machine to the empty training ground. The operation method in the instruction manual of the skill learning machine is, open the skill learning machine disk, aim it at the head of the elf, and then let the elf feel the energy of the disk and absorb it. Zhang Cheng and Yi Tian first summoned their own elves, and then operated it according to the instructions. Sure enough, when the skill learning machine disk was attached to Mosquito and Butterfree, the disk emitted a strong energy. After about a minute, the energy of the disk gradually dissipated, and then cracked into pieces. How about Mosquito? Do you feel the new skills? Butterfree, do you feel the operation method of keeping the skills? Zhang Cheng and Yi Tian each asked their own elves. They were also very curious about what effect would happen after absorbing the skill learning machine disk. Mosquito Tadpole nodded to indicate that he already knew how to use the skills. Butterfree also responded to Yi Tian. Then the two elves began to try out the skills they had just learned. I saw Butterfree flapping its beautiful wings, eyes slightly closed, as if it was gathering some kind of energy. When the energy reached a certain level, a layer of colorful transparent shield lit up around Butterfree. However, this shield is very weak and can be easily broken. After all, it is the first time that Butterfree has tried to gather a shield for the skill of guarding, so it is normal that the defense is not strong. Through continuous practice, the shield will become stronger after the proficiency of the guarding skill is getting higher and higher. This Butterfree's comprehension is really good. Just after learning how to use the skill through the skill learning machine, it can use a rough effect of the skill. When Butterfree tried to use the guarding skill, the mosquito repellent tadpole next to it also began to try the thief skill. However, because there is no actual prop to steal, this thief skill is similar to the skill effect of crazy grabbing, and it can only steal successfully when the opponent carries props. Of course, this thief skill is also powerful. In addition to stealing props, it can also be used as a move to restrain ghost and superpower systems. Because the thief is not just a normal skill, it is an evil skill that can cause good damage to the psychic and ghost types. After a period of trial and error, both elves have a preliminary grasp of the skills they have just learned. Unfortunately, there are no props at hand. If there are props, you can try to let Bobo carry the props and then practice the thief skill of mosquito repellent. It is unlikely to obtain props at present. Even the most common elf props start at 100,000 elf coins, which is out of reach for Zhang Cheng now. Of course, there is a special use for learning the thief skill. When training in the wild, Zhang Cheng can scan wild elves through the system. If you meet someone carrying props, you can use the thief skill to obtain the other party's props, and then resell the props. Zhang Cheng found that he seemed to have mastered a way to get rich, but Zhang Cheng had never been to the wild, and he was not sure what the proportion of elves carrying props in the wild was. Of course, one thing to mention is that in the battle with the trainer, the props obtained using the thief skill must be returned to the other trainer after the battle. If you refuse to return it, you will be forced to cancel your trainer qualification. If there is no such rule, Zhang Cheng may have some bold ideas. After the two elves initially mastered the skills, Zhang Cheng and Yi Tian also let the two elves fight again. The fastest way for elves to learn skills is to fight, and the proficiency and control of skills will be improved when there is pressure in high-intensity confrontation. Yi Tian's Butterfree has also been upgraded to level 11 through recent battles and training. Zhang Cheng's Mosquito repellent tadpole is still a little at a disadvantage in the battle with Butterfree. Butterfree is already the final evolution of the elves, plus the level has an advantage, and there is no restraint relationship in the attributes. In the competition between the two, Butterfree can often gain the upper hand through the advantages of flying and level. It must be said that Yi Tian is also a very good trainer. When the initial elf was a green caterpillar, he entered the elite class of Zhang Cheng No. 1 middle school, and he can still have a certain advantage in the battle with himself. The most important thing for Yi Tian next is to find an opportunity to obtain the second elf. The insect elves evolve quickly in the early stage, and the combat effectiveness will increase quickly. But after the elves of other trainers have completed their evolution, Butterfree will be at a disadvantage in this regard. After sparring with Yi Tian for an hour, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. The two of them went back to their dormitories to rest. Tomorrow is the first day of class, so they naturally have to maintain a good mental state. After returning to the dormitory, Zhang Cheng also released Mosquito and Pidgeot, took out the elf food and energy blocks that he had prepared in advance and gave them to the two elves to eat, and then he went to take a hot bath. After taking a bath, Zhang Cheng found that the two elves had eaten all the food and fell asleep leaning against each other. The two little ones have been exhausted in the past 2 days. First, they participated in the class division competition, and then they had battles and training in the evening, which consumed a lot of physical strength. Looking at the two sleeping little ones, Zhang Cheng's eyes were full of fatherly love. In his heart, he had already regarded them as his own children. After seeing that the two little ones had fallen asleep, Zhang Cheng also slowed down his movements so as not to disturb the two little ones and let them rest well. Tomorrow is Monday, and the theoretical knowledge class will be explained. It is just right for them to have a good rest in the dormitory and recover to prepare for the practical training class on Tuesday. While thinking about these, Zhang Cheng is also planning the follow-up. He can only rest and go out for a short time on Sundays every week. There may be no chance to go to the Mulan forest for training. He can only wait until the winter vacation to go to the forest. Zhang Cheng can't wait to know the number of props on the wild elves, and want to make a fortune from it. But now he can only think about it. He will implement this plan after the winter vacation. What he needs to do now is to improve the strength of the mosquito coil tadpole in Babo. There are all kinds of wild elves in the wild, and dangerous moments will come. Without sufficient strength, you will only be in a dangerous situation. While thinking about these, Zhang Cheng slowly fell asleep and welcomed the arrival of a new day. Chapter 25 Theory Lesson. In the early morning, the sun shone through the curtains onto Zhang Cheng's face. Ding ding ding, a familiar alarm clock sounded and woke up Zhang Cheng, who was sleeping soundly. He turned it off immediately after hearing the alarm clock and continued to lie in bed. After a mental struggle, Zhang Cheng still gritted his teeth and got up. Today was the first day of school, and being late was not acceptable. Zhang Cheng's sleep quality was very poor last night. He kept thinking about elves and tossed and turned until very late before he fell asleep. When he got up this morning, Zhang Cheng had a big panda eye. After a simple wash, he hurried to the classroom. It was exactly 9 o'clock when he arrived in the classroom. He arrived in the classroom on time. As soon as Zhang Cheng entered the classroom and sat down, the instructor Bai Yuling came to the podium. Students, today is the first class of the new semester. The teacher will take you to review some elf knowledge you have learned before, and then expand some advanced elf knowledge to you. As Bai Yuling's voice sounded, the day's elf theory class began. Zhang Cheng naturally couldn't listen to these. After all, as a time traveler who loves elves, he had already had a wide range of knowledge about elves before he traveled through time. Zhang Cheng was confident that he could easily pass the college entrance examination score line for theoretical courses. The college entrance examinations in previous years were divided into theoretical knowledge assessments and elf practical assessments. This is why students have to spend a lot of class time explaining theoretical knowledge after they have obtained elves. Simply put, everything is for the college entrance examination. The theoretical knowledge of the college entrance examination trainer assessment accounts for 40% of the total score, and the elf battle score accounts for 60% of the total score. In addition to trainers, there is also the profession of breeders in this elf world. The college entrance examination for breeders is calculated by 80% of theoretical knowledge into the total score, and the elf practical battle only accounts for 20%. Students who are not talented in elf battles can also choose the breeder assessment in the college entrance examination. After all, not everyone is suitable to be an elf trainer. The types of elves and various knowledge cover a wide range, which requires a lot of time to learn. And because the Elf Alliance stipulates that elves cannot be obtained before the age of 16, this also leads to all courses before the third year of high school being theoretical knowledge. It is worth mentioning that in this elf world, students are fixed in which grade they are supposed to be at a certain age. They cannot study late or early, so all students will get their first elf in the summer before their senior year. The teacher should have told you before that the difference between the knitter and knitter families is that their gender is determined by the type of elf. Bai Yuling explained the knowledge of elf steadily and orderly on the podium. Zhang Cheng, who was below, was not interested in these things. He listened to Bai Yuling's voice as if it was a hypnotic spell. After listening, he lay on the table to find Zhou Gong for a date. Bai Yuling, who was explaining the knowledge of elves on the podium, looked at the students in the classroom, of course, mainly to see what Zhang Cheng was doing. As a result, she was so angry that she was half dead. As a class monitor, she actually slept in the first class of the new semester. While thinking about these, Bai Yuling directly broke the chalk in her hand and threw it to Zhang Cheng, who was sleeping. Zhang Cheng felt a buzzing in his head. He touched the place where the pain came from and found that it was a broken chalk head. Then a voice with anger rang out, "Our class monitor, you slept on the first day of class. Do you think the teacher should praise you?" The classmates also tried to hold back their laughter and turned to look at Zhang Cheng, who was sitting in the corner by the window in the back row. "Teacher, I didn't mean it. I won't dare to do it next time," Zhang Cheng said from the heart after he came to his senses. A real man can bend and stretch. Zhang Cheng still knows the truth that people have to bow their heads under the eaves. Bai Yuling said to Zhang Cheng with a smile, "It's good to know your mistakes and correct them, but I can't let you go so easily." The teacher asks a question. If you can answer it correctly, I won't pursue the fact that you slept in class. No problem, Zhang Cheng nodded. Zhang Cheng was really not afraid of theoretical knowledge. With his understanding of elf knowledge, isn't it a piece of cake? The other students were very curious when they heard Zhang Cheng agree so straightforwardly. Is this kid so confident in theoretical knowledge? As a former classmate, Wu Yuiyu was a little confused. As Zhang Cheng's former study committee member, she naturally knew how bad Zhang Cheng's cultural grades were. Now he agreed so straightforwardly. Is it because he knew he couldn't answer it, so he just gave up? Then I'll ask a question. Let's start with the simple ones. Bai Yuling smiled and said to Zhang Cheng, "What are the characteristics of psi, and what effects do they have?" When other students heard this question, they began to mourn for Zhang Cheng. They had never learned the special effects of psi before, and this was a new knowledge point that Bai Yuling had just explained. How could Zhang Cheng, who had been sleeping all the time, answer such a question? While the students mourned for Zhang Cheng also began to answer. There are 3 special effects of psi, namely, premonition of insects, technical expert, and unyielding heart. Among them, unyielding heart is the hidden characteristic of psi. When he said this, some students were a little surprised. They didn't expect Zhang Cheng to answer it in a proper way. "Well, continue to tell me what the corresponding effects of these special effects are," Bai Yuling said while sitting on the podium with her hands on her chin. Zhang Cheng said slowly, "The effect of the premonition of insects is that when the health of insect attribute elves is less than 1/3, the power of insect attribute skills increases to 1.5 times the original. Technical experts can increase the damage of weaker skills by 50%. As for the hidden characteristic of the unyielding heart, elves with this characteristic will increase their speed after being frightened." After hearing Zhang Cheng's answer, the classmates felt it was incredible, thinking that it was likely that this guy had accidentally learned about the characteristics of psi before, so he remembered it so clearly. There are also a few male classmates who think that Zhang Cheng pretended to sleep on purpose just to attract the attention of the beautiful teacher. Thinking of this, the male compatriots gave Zhang Cheng thumbs up. It must be said that these brothers are very thoughtful. Bai Yuling was also a little surprised to hear Zhang Cheng's answer. Based on her own observation just now, Zhang Cheng must have fallen asleep, and it was impossible for him to hear the course just now. Thinking of this, Bai Yuling just assumed that Zhang Cheng had learned some knowledge about Scyther after class, so he could answer it smoothly. Next, she would give him a more difficult question to see if he would still obey. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.